It is 6:01. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. Thursday night football tonight. Indianapolis at Denver. 7:17 officially will be the kickoff. We will join Westwood One's coverage beginning at 7 o'clock right here on The Zone. Running back Jonathan Taylor out of the game tonight for the Colts. Titans linebacker Monty Rice, he's returned to practice from injured reserve. The team has 3 weeks to activate him to the roster. Ola Adeni, Traylon Burks, Zach Cunningham, Bud Dupree, and Joe Jones did not practice yesterday for the Titans. And Tennessee set to face Washington on Sunday at noon. Mike Keith and Dave McGinnis will have the call courtesy of Titans Radio. Coach Mack will join us here on Ramon, Kayla, and Will at 9:20 this morning. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Thursday edition of Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on 104.5 The Zone. The show goes on once again alongside 11-year NFL veteran Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson. My name is Will Bowling. Jonathan Schaefer, the best producer in
the world.
This world.
Craig. The world.
There's no way to know what other worlds exist, but in this world, Jonathan Schaefer is the best producer. We'll give him this world.
Craig.
How we doing?
Friday drop right there. You hear that? That was Day.
The best producer in the world.
There it
Of
is.
the world, Craig. The world.
What is that second part?
That's from next Friday.
Okay, that's from next
yeah,
Friday.
that's
okay.
Matt. Yeah, Mike Epps right there on the
Okay.
end of that. Him and Ice Cube in the world,
I
Craig.
get a little worried about you adding more audio to pat yourself on the back there. It's fine.
That's what happens when you're the best.
Okay.
You know what's great when you're the best, Will? You never have to say you're sorry.
Do what you want when you pop it.
Do what you want
how
when
are
you
we?
pop it.
Good morning.
We're good.
morning.
Today's Thursday. Yesterday felt like Friday to me.
Yeah, it
It
did.
did.
It did to
Definitely
y'all
did.
too.
It
Okay,
was like
all right.
it had a
There's so
mix
much
between
hype.
a Friday and a Monday.
Yeah, absolutely. I felt like yesterday was just one of those days. Like, man, it's at the end of the week already. Like, we spent a whole lot of energy Tuesday and Wednesday too. So I was
That's
just
true.
like, yeah.
I forgot about Tuesday. We came in here for 3HL.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been I ain't gonna say it's been a blur. It's been like a tornado.
And y'all got
effect in
paid for
here.
making 3HL better, right?
Always.
See, listen to this Shay.
Look at him.
I love Petty Shay
Fire
when he
this
shows up. I love it when he shows up.
The pilot episode is always one when you're rewatching shows. You maybe skip the first episode. You got to introduce all the characters.
Yeah.
Second episode's always where you started.
Yeah.
So
It's like Michael Scott with the comb
if you've
over.
DVR'd this show
No, it's a
somehow,
straight
yeah,
back
that's right.
hair. It's a straight
Oh.
back hair.
I
that
think
he
the
had to show
Diversity
up.
Day episode of The Office is the second episode of The Office,
Is
which
it really?
is one of the all-time Hall of Fame episodes of that show.
Diversity Day is the second episode.
In the
Now I
words-
want to go back.
In the words of Abraham Lincoln, if you are a racist, I will attack you with the North.
Wait a
Those are the words I have used to found Diversity Tomorrow, because today is almost over.
Yeah.
615-737-1045. Kayla, you'll learn about me that I just go into office
He
quotes with
does.
no warning.
Well, when I filled in, you went into office quotes.
That's right.
So I think I've been introduced.
Okay,
That
good.
was no
Is
surprise.
that what it was?
So she
Yeah.
already judged you.
Yeah, pretty
Perfect.
much.
I-
Pretty much.
Yeah, I'm a judgy person.
There are so many lines out of that episode that are some of the most iconic lines. I see Jonathan Schaefer already writing down on a sheet of paper
I'm a judgy
to
person.
get
I
a
knew
recording
it.
of you at
That's
6:05 a.m. saying, I'm a judgy person.
That's why I
Stand in
didn't
the
say anything. I was like, yep, he's saving that one.
I find
Everything
myself
we say.
now in normal conversation, like not saying things that Jonathan Schaefer could possibly be recording if the room is like bugged or something.
The best producer in the world.
That is the
world,
level
Craig.
of
The
paranoia The paranoia that I have.
Over under on how many times we get that today.
Oh, God.
I got 4 more left in them.
I
sure.
got about 7.
Hammer
4
the
more
over.
left in them.
What's funny is that
Over?
y'all control that.
I mean, we got to give credit where credit is due then, right? I mean, we could have somebody else, like somebody like Joe
Exactly.
Hunk that loses on Madden.
Well, he won last night.
Uh-oh.
He won last night?
I know.
Now I'm worried.
I walked into the show, and on the screens, it said, like, hey, Joe, you won.
Take the surprise out of your voice.
To which there's a lot of surprise in my voice. So basically, Kayla, Joe Hunk does these video game previews
Okay.
of every Titans game every Wednesday night. Streams them live on 104.5 The Zone TV. Rate, review, subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe, leave a comment. And he will lose every single week in some kind of dramatic fashion on All Madden. Now, what I can tell you as the video game enthusiast in the room is that it is not hard to beat All Madden. So we usually start the Thursday shows giving him crap of like, oh, well, it's Groundhog Day again. Joe Hunk lost on the video game preview or something like that.
I was really correlating it to the Titan season, too. And
Oh,
so they
it was
won
1-1 for a little bit.
And he lost. No, he was 0-2.
I know, that's what I'm
And
saying.
the Titans were
It's a 1-to-1 correlation.
Yeah.
The Titans were 0-2 at some point.
Yeah, they were 0-2. And I'm like, Joe, hey, a lot is like depending on you winning
Yeah.
this damn game, man. Like, come on, dude.
Like, I don't
No
believe
pressure.
in jinxes, but let's all do our part, please.
Exactly. So
Thanks.
what is he, 1-5 now? Or 1-4?
1-4.
1-4.
Not making the playoffs like that.
On a video game you control. Like, now I'm with you, Will. Like, at first I was like,
So easy.
All Madden is kind of tough. I know Caples is a big time gamer too. Like Capel plays a lot, and I was like, oh, okay, well
So-
maybe All Madden is a little tough.
Joe's new name is Jeremy Pruitt.
Oh, God.
Talks a good game but can't win.
Uh-oh.
Is that what we're doing?
Hurtful.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, does he talk a good game?
Well, he just brings it up all the time,
Yeah, he
right?
See, I would not, if I was not good at doing something,
like gaming.
I would just not talk about it. When the time came, I'd just put my head down and go to work. And if I lost, I lost. But I wouldn't go out there and talk about it then
But
and bring attention to it.
what's wild though is like even if he's not talking about it, he's bold enough to stream it.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you cooking. You know what I'm
You're
saying? Like me
cooking.
cooking or me grilling. And it's like, man, I make the greatest steaks in the world.
Yep.
Great.
then
now
you-
Bam's gonna call.
And-
Thanks.
Uh-oh.
yeah, you're right. And then you taste my food, be like, Moan, this tastes like rubber. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're that bold to
Yeah.
do
Try-
something,
Yeah.
I trust your culinary instincts.
you
though.
gotta be. I'm telling you, it's phenomenal.
See, there you go.
Like,
I do not
He
believe
says
it
this, but-
until I'm actually able
Okay.
to try.
Okay. So
Maybe
this-
your invite got lost in the mail like mine, Kayla.
Oh, did yours too?
Yeah, I think mine
Okay.
as well.
Listen,
Aw, poor guy.
Let's plan this thing
Pay
That's
Yeah.
out.
also
Postage
something
stamp.
you can't do is brag about something and then don't let us get involved.
Thank you. It feels good to be on the other side of one of these exchanges. Thank you, Kayla.
This is what we are.
Thank you.
So now it's about me. Okay, I see she's pulled. What do you call it again? Where you pull the
For once
arrow out
around,
of?
for once around, we're the ones knocking, and you're the one that's got to answer the door.
I
We are the
did.
ones who knock.
I wasn't
You
ready
caught
to.
a stray,
I
man.
did catch a stray. I caught a stray. It's like, Mom, don't
God.
be bragging about stuff you can't invite us to. Kayla really just
Feels good on this side
she
of the
sent
fence.
me her invite back. Is basically what happened. That's crazy. I was gonna say we're getting a date together, okay?
Okay.
In order for us to come together and have a shindig at the crib. Y'all cool with that?
Shindig.
Shindig.
I do not know the last time that
I
I
haven't
have
heard that
shindig.
one in a minute.
I'm telling you, it's gonna be a good time. I might break my diet to have a good time with y'all. Is what
He's
I'm
gonna.
saying.
You
Wow.
might bring your what?
I might break my diet to have a good day with y'all. Okay.
You might have to.
Because what I'm telling you is, I looked at this truck yesterday going down Long Hollow Pike that
Mm-hmm.
had a truckload of firewood, and I was like, you know what? That'd be
Uh-oh.
good for a cookout.
Yeah.
That'd
I've
be
been
real.
saying recently, I need to be around a fire.
I know, right?
So
I
he's
need
just
to-
gonna lean in.
Oh, no, absolutely.
I used to do a lot around that, like, with parties and stuff.
Really?
There were some accidents that
Please don't tell me you fell into a fire
I
pit.
didn't, but others did. Now,
People-
they were
oh, God.
okay.
God.
Us Northwest kids,
Aggressive.
we get crazy.
And bonfires
We do
are
a
huge,
lot
huh?
outside.
6:10 a.m. Jonathan
Yeah.
Schaefer.
Exactly. There's another drop.
There you go.
But I love a good fire pit though. Like
Yeah.
legitimately, I got a decent one at the crib.
Of course you do.
It's nice.
What
Humble
is this,
brag.
Brad?
But
Is this
no,
Ramon bragging
Humble
on
brag.
No, it's not, Kayla. But what I'm telling you is, I enjoy setting up a big fire. The kids love it because they can get to have s'mores, man.
S'mores. Ooh,
My
yeah.
neighbor's kid, Maddox, little Maddox. Everybody got their neighborhood kid.
Yeah.
Mine is Maddox.
Is he a
Okay,
troublemaker?
He ain't no troublemaker at all. He's high strung, like very eager all the time.
Maddox is an assassin.
He is an assassin.
Savage.
And it's so funny how he says my wife's name. So her name is Keisha. Miss Keisha? And I'm like,
Oh,
love that little
Miss
kid.
Dude, you just made
I
the lights
did.
blink.
I got to stop slamming my hands.
Stranger
and stuff.
Things season 5.
But what Lil Maddox does is he comes over our house to act like a ratchet, okay? He comes in and he goes into his degenerate ways.
Uh-oh.
First thing he usually does is, Miss Keisha,
Oh,
can I go get some cookies? I'm like,
of course.
are you supposed to be getting these at our house, Max? And he
See?
just looked, and he got a dimple on the right side of his face. I'm like,
You can't tell him no.
I can't tell
Oh
him
no, he's gonna be one of those.
Yeah,
kids.
he's
Yep.
one. That's why I'm keeping him
Yep.
close at the crib, okay? And Shad,
Mhm.
his dad, knows that too. I'm like, Shad, we gonna have to watch him. Him and Miles, my youngest. Oh, I
Uh-oh.
already got
Scheming.
my antennas.
Yeah, scheming already.
Will, listen to me. I got cameras at my house for them. Okay. I
For
don't know.
them.
I don't know what they're doing later in life, but I'm gonna be informed. But when we do the fire pit, he's huge on like the s'mores. Like he want to put his marshmallow all the way in the middle of the fire. Miles is that way too. The
Like
young
burns
ones,
it.
yeah,
that's the
and
way to
just
do it.
want to lift
Yeah.
it up and watch it like flame.
Absolutely.
Yep.
You're that way too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
See, never
See,
grow up.
that's the instant gratification way that my generation makes s'mores. I guess.
It's just to
Just
light them on
burns them.
fire.
This is just going to turn into like you and you meddling kids.
I think
out
it's
here.
like a
Back when I was a
patience
boy,
thing.
we used to wait to make our
Or
s'mores.
I think
America's
it's a patient thing.
Gone
It's
to
a-
whatever.
What's a patient thing? Making s'mores?
Being patient.
No, definitely.
Like I can't. I'm with Will though. Like I would probably just. I usually would just stick mine in the middle of the fire.
For real?
And then I'd be like,
Yeah,
oh,
you get
let's
the
just
level of
chance it.
crispy.
Let's just chance if it like does it nicely. Oh no, it's gonna burn up, Kayla. While everybody else is like barely out of the
Toasting
fire,
it at first.
turning it. I'm like, let's go.
It's
Hey,
so.
Mo.
Yeah.
S'mores.
S'mores.
No.
Whoa, wait, what do we got going on here?
I can't say s'mores. You schmuck.
S'mores.
S'more.
S'mores.
Somebody said something about me saying s'mores. Or you picked up on it. Is it s'mores?
Like a M.
S'mores.
No.
I picked up on it. S'mores.
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 You
Not
just go-
s'mores.
S'mores.
Yeah, Molly.
Yeah, schmucks. I can't say that.
So, just do it. Do a
You can't say
sound.
what you said on the show 2 days ago.
I know.
Oh,
I was
God.
real
Well,
close.
easy. Easy.
I heard
Anyway,
about that.
All right.
Yeah.
So today on the show.
I was so close to getting
changing
fired.
subjects. Woo.
Oh, goodness. We'll hit the Titans headlines today. Hear from Ryan Clark again. Our conversation with him yesterday at the end of the show about Derrick Henry, Christian Fulton, Caleb Farley, and how anyone who watched Roger McCreary play in college knew how good that he would be immediately for the Tennessee Titans. Good introduction for us to have our first guest on the show in Ryan Clark yesterday. So we'll play you that coming up in just a couple of minutes. We've got Bob Kesling, voice of the Vols, at 7:20 today. Where does LSU rank for him among the best environments he's called a game in the SEC? And who steps up in a prominent way after the bye week and plays themselves into a bigger role for this Tennessee team against LSU in Baton Rouge this Saturday? We'll get his thoughts on that. Fraud versus for real. Big group of teams that are good, not great, maybe good or just bad in the NFL. We'll separate the good from the bad, the frauds from the for real in hour 3 today. And in hour number 4, Coach Dave McGinnis. And what are you snickering about over there?
Yeah.
I'm frozen on the zone, chat.
Yeah, I
Oh,
just
no.
fixed it because you banged your hand on the counter again and
It
froze
was-
the camera.
It was doing good for a while.
That's what she
And the camera's
Goodness sakes.
What is
We
going
can't take you
on
anywhere this morning.
Kayla, welcome to the show.
Welcome. Anyway, Coach Mack at hour
Oh,
4.
yeah.
More after this. Ryan Clark coming up. 104.5 The Zone.
When it comes to large home repairs, a lot of the time we homeowners pretend we don't see the warning signs. We are afraid of what we're going to hear. This is especially true with waterproofing and foundation repair. It could be something big that needs to be fixed, or it could be a small problem now that will become a bigger problem later, or it may be nothing at all. In these moments, you want a peace of mind. That's when you need United Structural Systems. With USS, you get problem solvers, experts to educate you and help you understand what's happening with your home. USS will provide an honest diagnosis and stand by their work and warranties. Coolest thing about that is the warranties stay with the house even if you sell it. USS is based right here in Middle Tennessee and is a member of our community. So when it comes to something as important as your home, USS is a company who cares and a company you can trust. USS serving Middle Tennessee, Southern Kentucky, and Northern Alabama. Find them online at USSTN.com or call 615-227-2275. We guarantee our best. Call USS.
First hour off and running on the Thursday edition of Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors of Nashville. 615-737-1045 is how you jump in. Ryan Clark coming up in a moment. Will Bowling, Kayla Anderson, Ramon Foster with you. Jonathan Schaefer making the show happen.
Yes, he is.
Jonathan Schaefer lassoing and jumping in circles in the studio right now at 6:20 a.m.
Was he jumping in circles? Was he really?
Uh-huh.
Hell yeah, I was.
I missed it. Dang.
I'm an American. What are you
This is where I
talking
wish you were on screen so we could return the favor
about?
and just like record things that you
Guess
do.
who controls that too?
It's unfortunate. I designed it, but I no longer have control of it.
It's all the Wizard of Oz, baby.
It's unfortunate.
Was this I Am Robot?
It's tough. 615-737-1045, the number. John in the Borough up next on the show. Good morning, John.
Morning, John.
Good morning, everybody. First things first. Will, for a guy who loves The Office, you missed a golden opportunity to give the best quote of the whole series in the last segment.
And what's that?
You were so convinced or so consumed with giving Hunk a bunch of grief for losing on All Madden, and you said, I don't believe in jinxes, but let's all do our part, instead of saying, I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious.
That's true. That's accurate.
I love that one, by the way.
I never miss an opportunity to give Will some grief.
Nor should you.
Anyway, yeah, well, is what it is. We all got to do our part, right?
Of course.
So, anyway, with the game this Saturday, all right, y'all know that I'm not a UT fan. Y'all know this well.
Mm-hmm.
I need y'all to ride with me. I'm going to ride with y'all this weekend. I'm going to ride with UT this weekend. I need y'all to ride with me against Houston.
Okay.
Okay.
Can we do that?
Challenge
Can we do
accepted.
that? Can we be a family for the weekend?
Wow.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah, 100%. I'm with you on that, and I got a reason for it too. Houston's a good school, but Houston always, I feel like, get put on a pedestal on how good they are too. Like, it should be a big time school because they are in Houston, but they don't perform like, I don't know if it's Conference USA or what when it comes down. Or what are they, American Conference now?
Houston's going over to the Big 12.
They're going to, okay. Well,
There you go. Well, there
now
you
we
go.
go.
Yeah.
Okay. So because it's in a big major city like Houston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you would expect recruits would want to go there, but I know Texas got a stronghold.
Yeah, American
Baylor,
right
like-
now, but they're one of the ones that are making the switch.
I'm with you. Hey, John, smash them. I'm with
There you
that.
go.
I'll ride with that. I'm okay with that.
I think that's a fair,
Yeah.
meet in the middle plan.
Plus, going up against Ed
Right.
Oliver, that was a headache in
Oh.
itself. So respect him. I was just like,
Yeah.
dude, you went to Houston.
I'm
What you know
disrespectful.
about y'all.
There you
But yeah, I'm with that.
We talked with Ryan Clark of ESPN, covered a lot of topics with him. Derrick Henry, Roger McCreary, a little bit of Caleb Farley at the end of this conversation, but overall, good insight into the Tennessee Titans, a little bit of trash talking from Ryan Clark. As well about Tennessee and LSU and a couple of big games that he played in there. But always good to catch up with Ryan Clark of ESPN. Here is our conversation with him. I got to ask, with Tennessee LSU coming up this weekend, Ryan, a 2001 Tennessee LSU SEC championship game is a tough topic for a lot of people in this town and in this state. What do you remember the most from your perspective in that game?
Receiver Kelly Washington. I believe that was his last
Yeah,
name.
that's him.
Yep.
Walking side by side with me off the field, me telling him, man, great game, best of luck going forward, and him telling me he was fine with losing because he was going to be a first-round pick, and I'd never play a play in the league.
No.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah, I think that's what I remember most about it.
Hold up,
said.
RC.
What did I tell you about keeping a chip? That's why I love DBs.
Yeah, RC. Me
up, bro?
knowing you didn't punch him in his face?
Nah, man.
I love it.
At the time, it was one of those things that didn't even bother me. I kind of laughed at it. I look at it as a little bit of trash talk, and he was just salty. They lost the game they definitely shouldn't have. I think they were the better team. They kind of showed it early on in the season. We had going on the run, and sometimes you just get on the run and those things happen.
Right.
And I want to say he went to Cincinnati, and I saw him later on, during that time. I think I was in Washington, and I reminded him of the conversation,
Yeah.
The unfortunate part was, as I was finishing my 13-year career, he was really nowhere to be found for us to talk about it. So,
Exactly.
Hey, talk your talk.
Exactly.
I love it.
I knew eventually you get to it, RC. I knew eventually you get to it, man. With that being said, though, about LSU Tennessee coming up, man, a top 25 matchup. I know y'all transitioned to a new head coach. We are in a new system also, man. If I could just ask you, watching that Tennessee offense and being a defensive back, how do you prep for something like that? And I know being in Death Valley and Baton Rouge also plays a part in it also, RC.
yeah, I think the college game has changed so much. The college game is starting to almost mirror Little League football, and I don't say that negatively. I say that as, remember, in Little League football, the best athlete just played quarterback. And he didn't necessarily have to throw. They wanted to have the football in his hand. And so now you look at these quarterbacks, being able to do so much, especially with such a veteran quarterback like
Right.
Tennessee Volunteers have. A guy that's seen it all, that's been around it all, he's a grown freaking man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's older than many of the quarterbacks that are drafted in the first round, because those guys are just juniors. And so when you have that type of experience, it's hard to shake that guy. It's hard to show him different things that he hasn't seen. Death Valley is a difficult place to play, but we're talking about a full-grown adult. This isn't a kid. And so when you look at this offense, I think they can beat you in multiple ways. They've shown to be very explosive. And the one thing I kind of go back to is watching them play Florida, and Florida continuing to make plays, Florida keeping pressure on them. It was like every time Tennessee's offense needed to find an answer, they did. Whether it was a wide open guy running down the sideline, whether it was extending a play and getting extra time. And I think all of those things are important. Defensively, LSU has grown a lot since the first game against Florida State. There's been some changes in the secondary. Michael Baskerville has gotten healthy at the linebacker position, and they found some people to fill the places of losing a guy like Mason Smith, who's supposed to be an ascending superstar. So I look forward to the matchup. But I think the true question is, what is LSU going to be able to produce in the pass game against Tennessee after really, not playing well at all in that phase against Auburn?
Okay, so Ryan, I'm going to change it up a little because your kid goes to ASU, right?
Yes.
So I'm a Pac-12 girl. I went to Washington State.
Okay.
So I'm curious because living over here, and I've lived over here for about 9-10 years of my career, it's hard to watch Pac-12, right? It's hard to follow the Pac-12 after dark. The hours are so different.
Yeah.
How much do you keep up with, obviously, your son being there, but with the Pac-12 in general, just because the time difference?
Well, the first thing is like, I'm a real dad. You
Yeah.
know, I think sometimes, you get to do these jobs and people forget that you're just normal.
Yeah.
And the one thing that's not normal about me is, I have a ton of jobs still.
Yep.
So I earn enough. I go to every single game.
Yes.
That's awesome.
The only game I'll miss is Stanford, and that's because my daughter is a senior in high school, and she has homecoming that night.
Oh,
So I'll be there supporting her. I keep up with it all. I just keep up with ball in general,
Yeah.
though. I didn't play for Tennessee, but I watch them because they're on TV, and I just love college football. And I think the odd thing about the Pac-12 is you can't compare it to the SEC.
Yep.
And that's in no slight to the Pac-12, but when teams are pulling from Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, and having opportunities to get the best out of California, you're going to get the best out of Tennessee. I think you just can. The way that you are able to recruit in the SEC, I believe, is just there's no peer, there's no match for it. And then you look at also the coaches in that league and what they've done historically with putting guys in the NFL. And so I think the Pac-12 suffers a little bit from that, in the sense where you look at a guy like Najee Harris, who now plays for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's a 5-star running back, number one running back in the country. He doesn't go to school in California.
Exactly.
Right? Bryce Young, who's the quarterback of Alabama, Heisman Trophy winner. He's from California. C.J. Stroud's from California.
Yep.
DJ, I can't spell his name.
Uiagalelei?
There it is.
Clemson. Yeah, him.
Yeah.
California.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And so I think just even speaking of those players who many would assume would end up being Pac-12 quarterbacks, and them not kind of shows you the deficit in which the Pac-12 is in when it comes to football. But, like, I enjoy it because I just go to watch as a dad anyway. So, like, I don't care if the Pac-12 is great or if they not. I
Right?
just really care what number one of Arizona State does and how he's feeling. But, you know, there's definitely different levels when you talk about the Power Five and the strength of different conferences.
Ryan Clark, ESPN, with us here this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. So, Ryan, what do you make of this Titans team through 4 weeks? Some good and some bad. How do you evaluate the start of their season this year?
I think the one thing you have to that's a positive is, you know, it seems like Derek's starting to get going a little bit. They're getting him in space. I think what I really have loved, you know, in the recent weeks is his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield, because I think that gives him an opportunity to be the best him, right? And what's the best him? Get the ball in space and be able to run really fast, really straight. Because once he gets that momentum going, once he, you know, gets to top speed, nobody wants to get in front of that little truck, you know. So I think, you know, I think they've been, you know, I think they've been really smart about that. Obviously, you know, the injury to Traylon Burks and what's been going on with the pass game needs to improve. They've had injuries in the secondary as well, and they've been kind of piecing that together. I think the first thing that's a positive is that they play in the AFC South, right? Which surprisingly, Jacksonville is really, really good this year. Or not, hold on. I'm comparing them to like other Jacksonville.
Sure.
Let me not say really, really good. They're good though. They're better.
They are.
They are better. And, you know, and so you look at that, you know, this is a team that's going to have a chance to represent the AFC South in the playoffs as the division champion. I think this team is nowhere near some of the teams we've seen recently, though, especially, you know, the team last year that had the great regular season and was the number one overall seed in the AFC. But I feel like Mike Vrabel always finds a way to get things going. Disappointed early on, and I'm in the airport, by the way. I'm sorry. I was disappointed early on about the kind of the lack of physicality I saw from him. But I think those things are starting to pick up as well.
Ryan Clark of ESPN with us here this morning on 104.5 The Zone. Ryan, do you see defenses playing Derrick Henry any differently and viewing him as maybe a little bit, I don't know, I guess Ramon made the point of defenses might not fear Derrick the way that they used to.
I texted him.
What do you see from the way
I saw that.
defenses are playing him?
Well, you know, people hate me and when I talk about Derrick Henry, so that's always funny. I think it's not necessarily about fearing Derrick Henry. I believe everybody respects him, right? You don't do what Derrick Henry has done in the NFL and not earn and garner the respect of defensive coaches, defensive players. I think Derrick Henry has a very specific skill set that doesn't necessarily match his body. And I've said that a ton of times, right? Derrick Henry is not this physical downhill runner that doesn't need holes, that doesn't need space. He actually needs a ton of space. He's actually more finesse, more speed, more explosion in the open field than he is, you know, road grader, than he is run over a linebacker. Obviously, there was the hit week one with Tate Crowder that about 1 million people sent me. Why did they send it to me? Because I always say if he's faced up or if he's, you know, in the hole before really getting started running, that, you know, I've never seen him create his own space with lowering his pads because he runs high. And that's just a true statement. But I think people still understand who Derrick Henry is. But it's also about his offensive line. It's also about the scheme and design of the run game, which Ramon can speak to much more than I can, and giving him an opportunity to have space. I think, you know, there's some running backs who create their own. There's some running backs who have the elusivity once they get the ball where they don't need necessarily as much. I believe Derrick Henry is a guy that has to get going first before he can be effective. And we've seen some of that in the recent weeks.
RC, that's one way of talking offenses in the NFL is the run game. The other side that we've had this morning is the wide receiver. What is the wide receiver in the NFL these days? Because A.J. Brown name continuously comes up here in Nashville, even though he's in Philly.
Right. I think when you look at what elite wide receivers have done to change offenses, we truly have to value the position and the way the money has trended. right? Look at the way the money has trended for the position with guys earning up to 25, 30 million a year, whether it's Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, A.J. Brown, Debo Samuel, DK Metcalf, all of these guys. Now, think about this, and many people don't want to give Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles discredit.
Right.
So Josh Allen was a very good quarterback, a very talented quarterback, but he was just good. He was just talented. And then he got Stephon Diggs, and then he started to be a part of MVP conversations. That was going into his third year. Now, no one thought Jalen Hurts was Josh Allen. No one spoke of him in that way. All of a sudden, he's gotten A.J. Brown, and Jalen Hurts, at least through the first quarter of the season, he's in my MVP conversation, right? And obviously, you can't attribute that all to A.J. Brown, but think about last week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's a torrential downpour. He throws an interception on his first drive. After that, he continues to go to A.J. Brown, intermediate routes, quick screens, short game, quick game, getting the football out of his hand to a superstar wide receiver. And, I can't throw a football. I could throw a hitch, though. I could throw a slant, and so you're looking at what a wide receiver could do to change your quarterback and change your offense. I think it's gone from one of those underrated positions and undervalued positions to one of the more valuable on each and every team.
Okay, I'm going to switch over to the defense. And clearly you kind of brought it up, Ryan, but there's been some bumps and bruises in the secondary, obviously. But where I think there's a bright spot, and I don't know how much you've seen of him, but the rookie cornerback, Roger McCreary, 3-star coming out of high school, goes to Auburn eventually. I think people thought from what they saw in camp that he was going to be a contributor, but he's been a contributor from the jump, and obviously there's things he still has room to grow. But what have you kind of seen out of that secondary? Also, Christian Fulton, an LSU guy.
Well, first of all, McCreary, if you watched any Auburn games last year, you knew he was a dude.
Yep.
Right. This is they won. It was about the way he competed. He was physical. He was in your face. He would tackle. And I think you've seen those things translate immediately to this game. Those are things that don't take thinking, right? You don't have to think to run fast. You don't have to think to be competitive. You don't have to think to be confident. And he's done, all of those things. And I think that's shown very early. He's also been pressed into play extremely early. And I think, that takes a different mindset from a DB. And honestly, to me, without his ability to acclimate right away to the NFL game, I think the Tennessee Titans would be in a ton of trouble on the back end.
Yeah.
And, and K-Baby, as we call him. Yeah. K-Baby is crazy. The NFLPA years and years ago wanted to do this thing where, NFL players would mentor very talented high school players.
Yeah.
And so they basically, I was retired at the time, so they basically drove down and took me to all of these different high schools to meet these players. One of those players was a junior who had only played in 7 games the year previous and had 11 interceptions. His name is Christian Fulton.
Yep.
Nice.
And so I've known Christian since he was 16.
No way.
He's probably said 4 words since then as well. He doesn't talk very much. But I think, he's been banged up a ton since he's been in the league. I believe he has elite corner talent, though. I believe he's a one, and I believe he's a one in the way that a Denzel Ward is, a Jair Alexander. But you got to be available. When you look at his progression throughout his career, it's everything you want a corner's progression to be, other than being on the field all the time. And so I think his health is paramount to what this team can do defensively, because, you've seen it, whether it was in camp, he's, on DeAndre Hopkins, he's on the Julio Joneses, or even in the games, him being matched up on number one.
Yep.
They need him to be that guy, especially when you haven't necessarily gotten what you expected out of Caleb Farley.
Great points.
Good stuff.
Man,
Ryan
RC.
Clark, we could go a lot longer, but we are out of time,
RC.
man.
Friggin'
Appreciate
time
the time.
constraints.
Ryan, you're the first guest in the history of this new
Yes.
show also. So appreciate the time
love
and
it. I love
a
it.
high honor for you.
Yeah.
I hope I didn't ruin it for everybody on day one.
No, you
No.
did,
No,
man.
it's great stuff.
RC, I can't wait to hear this Griffey interview, just so
Oh.
you know.
Me too.
Oh, thank you. It was awesome, man. I fanboyed pretty much the whole time, so I'm not sure how well I did my job, but he was great.
I would have did the same thing. I saw the
That's
clip
awesome.
with the jersey on. I was
Best
like,
lefty
I
swing
wore
ever.
the jersey,
The
the
kid.
shoes, the hat, everything.
Bro, listen, I had the shoes on, the jersey. I only asked him to sign one of them because I felt like it was a bit much to ask him to sign the shoes too. But now I feel like I should have. The greatest thing about this is, I'm tell you really quick, he flew himself on his own jet to the interview.
Wow.
I love it.
RC.
I love it.
That's a level we're all striving for.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, and after the show, he showed us his yacht too. So
Not bad.
RC,
you got,
come on,
you got
man.
Ramon.
Invite us next time, RC.
Ramon's going to be shopping in the next break. So
Right,
we
exactly.
No,
appreciate it.
Ramon ain't got that type of money. All right.
I love
RC,
it.
we'll fly first class. We're good there.
So there is ESPN's Ryan Clark with us. If you missed any part of that conversation, check out the podcast wherever you download podcasts. Ramon, Kayla, and Will, Apple, Spotify, Google Play, 1045thezone.com as well. 615-737-1045 is the number. Coming up, we hit the Titans injury report yesterday for the practice field. Take a look at the headlines and get ready for 2 questions with Kay, our new segment, getting to know our newest teammate. That's next. Ramon, Kayla, and Will on 1045 The Zone.
Hey, it's Ramon Foster for Window Nation. Forecasters are predicting a colder and snowy winter. Winter is coming up fast. Are you prepared? Have your old windows lost their integrity? Are they drafty, hard to operate, or single pane and inefficient? The experts at Window Nation can help you prepare your home to defend against the colder weather with incredible savings. Right now, get 2 windows free for every 2 you buy and pay nothing till 2025. Imagine how much that 0% financing can save you. No payments till 2025. Add that to the fact that thousands more in energy savings over time. Leaves may be falling, but energy costs sure won't be anytime soon. And with expert installation from Window Nation, you'll join over 150,000 smart homeowners who have Window Nation windows protecting their homes. Start saving with one call to 866-90Nation or visit windownation.com. Get 2 free windows for every 2 you buy. That's buy 2, get 2 free with no limit. Plus, pay nothing till 2025. Now's the time to winterize your home with this great offer before it leaves and rake in the savings. Again, call Window Nation now, 866-90Nation, or visit windownation.com and tell them Ramon sent you.
Wrapping up hour number 1 on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors here on 104.5 The Zone. Questions with K is what we call our segment to get to know our newest co-host, Kayla Anderson. Ramon Foster, Will Bowling with you, Jonathan Schaefer making the show happen. But first, we go to the phone lines where Goody Mike is chiming in this morning. Hello, Mike.
Morning, Michael.
Morning, Mike.
Yo, morning, fellas. How and ladies?
Oh, you can call me
apologize.
fella. I don't care.
No. You're too beautiful to even be close to a fella. Stop that. Hey, but let me ask you this, Caleb. You know, I got a question for you. Just one question, based off of yesterday. Okay.
Yes.
Are you a dark chocolate lady or a white chocolate lady? Which one?
Wow.
You know,
Which
I
one?
actually, I'm not opposed to white chocolate. Like, I
Really?
like white chocolate, milk
Okay.
chocolate. I like almonds
Almost okay.
in the chocolate.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, coconut. And
a
I like
red flag.
coconut.
You like so almond
And I
Joy?
like coconut. I'm an almond joy person.
Get out of here.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, that's good to know. When I got the chocolates, you know, sent up there, I know.
He's
put some
really thinking
almond
about
joys
doing
in
this.
there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, welcome you to the show, man. We all happy you
I appreciate it.
there.
I-
You did? Yeah.
Maybe I'll share.
But, oh yeah. With everybody but Will, okay?
That's-
Everybody but Will.
Poor,
I
poor
accept.
Will.
No, okay, all right. Let me get serious. Also, based off of yesterday, y'all touched on Vrabel and him maybe not trusting Tannehill, right?
Yeah.
You know, based off of the playoff games. Remember, that's really funny because I put a poll up on Twitter asking, you know, if that's what it seemed like. So let's go down conspiracy alley just real quick.
Uh-oh.
Just
You got to make it
indulge
like
me,
30
okay?
seconds
I was
because we're
hanging
up
out
against
there
the
last
break.
Okay, all right. So basically, with the way that they've been playing in the second half, does Vrabel not trust, you know, what he got out there on the field, or is he trying to save their confidence? And because, you know, what he's saying in the press conference, and then on top of that, also, you know, 4th and 1, Henry on the sideline looking like he ready to go for it, and Vrabel telling him straight off, no, we're not going for it. I mean, I need to see them. I need to see some confidence out there, and it don't look like he got too much confidence in him. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're trying to save him. But if y'all could talk on it, touch on it, I appreciate it. You did?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
I think Mike just wanted to light Titans Twitter on fire today.
Is that what you got going on?
I mean, ultimately, you have a head coach that is much more comfortable grinding out a close win than he is pushing the ball downfield up by a touchdown or up by 2 touchdowns and risking throwing an interception.
That's what we went through versus Florida with the Vols, remember?
100%.
What was the conversation immediately after the game? We should have went for it for more.
Right.
Yeah.
And the balance and management of a game to that point, though, it's like, man, how much do you want to put yourself at risk? Like Vrabel did say, and you said he was quoted by saying, I trust my defense to get us out of there.
Yeah. No, it's a good point. It depends on what risk you're more willing to take. Do you want to risk your young defensive backs not giving up a long touchdown?
Right.
Or do you want to risk your quarterback you're paying the highest cap hit of quarterbacks in the NFL this year to not throw the ball to the other team in the second half?
And not just that, Will, Kayla, momentum swings. And
Sure.
I'm a firm believer in momentum, too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 615-737-1045, the number. Shane on YouTube makes just a wonderful, wonderful recommendation that this is now the name of this segment, Kayla. Instead of Q&A, Q&K.
Ooh.
What?
That's
Q&K.
fantastic.
Okay, all right.
Wait, who
Fantastic.
said that?
Shane on YouTube.
Shane, you are a
Congratulations.
genius.
Well done.
Shane.
10
Man,
points.
This
10
is why
points.
we love our listeners.
10 points to
viewers.
Gryffindor.
Yeah, I'm with that.
10 points to Gryffindor.
I like
That's
that
really
one.
good.
For Shane Miles. Coming up next, hour number 2, Voice of the Vols, Bob Kesling coming up at 7:20. We continue to get to know our newest teammate, Kayla Anderson, and recap the Titans headlines coming off the practice field yesterday. 1 hour down, 3 more to go. Don't blink, and you're just going to miss it if you do. And then I can't help you. It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 104.5 The Zone.
Change is coming and you need to be prepared. Hey, this is Ramon Foster. Did you know that new regulations are coming soon that could increase the price of replacing your older HVAC system by over 20%? That's why you need to act now and get the older system replaced by my friends. Yes, my friends at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. They offer 18 months with no payments. You can lock in today's price and not have to pay until 2024, spring of 2024 at that. Or you can get up to $1,500 off your new HVAC. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is always backed by a 10-year parts and labor warranty on York products. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is also a York certified comfort expert company. And if you're in need of repair work, they offer free service calls with their repairs, plus low monthly payments on those repairs too. They are the heating and cooling company that can take care of all your HVAC needs. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, available anytime at springhillac.com.
From the Superbook.com sports desk, I'm Jonathan Schaefer. Titans linebacker Monty Rice has returned to practice from the PUP list. The team has 3 weeks to activate him. Ola Adeni, Traylon Burks, Zach Cunningham, Bud Dupree, Joe Jones, all out from practice yesterday. Titans set to face Washington on Sunday at noon. Thursday Night Football tonight, Indianapolis at Denver. You can hear the game right here on The Zone, courtesy of Westwood One. Jonathan Taylor out for the Colts. The Braves are the second seed in the Major League Baseball playoffs. They will face the winner of the Philadelphia St. Louis best-of-3 series. And the fan who ran onto the field during the Rams' loss at San Francisco on Monday night filed a police report against Rams linebacker Bobby Wagner. One word, weak. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your Over the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
The show goes on for another 60 minutes on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors here in Nashville. Crew's all here. Ramon Foster, Jonathan Schaefer making the show happen. My name is Will Bowling. Kayla Anderson with us. The phone number is 615-737-1045 as we get ready to talk with Voice of the Vols, Bob Kesling, coming up here in 15 minutes, where Death Valley ranks among the best atmospheres he has called games in within the SEC, and Tennessee's first trip to Death Valley since a 2010 game that I think a lot of us would like to forget.
Absolutely over it, huh?
A little bit.
Yeah, this, and of course, I don't know if it's for theatrics of what when it comes to this, but they of course announced that the game is sold out also.
Of course.
So it should be a fun environment. We know what Louisiana is. We know what their fan base is also. They're in the top 25 right now. Have a couple of good, decent wins, man, and they got all rights to feel the way they do about this game this weekend too. Should be hostile, Will.
Oh, it will be. It no doubt will be. I'm excited to be down there with Ron Slay. If you are a Tennessee fan hanging out down there in Death Valley, Walk-Ons is the Tennessee headquarters. We're going to be tailgating with Vols fans there. We're going to be live here on 104.5 The Zone from 8 to 9 a.m. Central Time. And come hang out. Come get a drink with Slay and have a good time. Walking distance from the stadium. It's going to be good.
Yeah. Have you ever been there?
I've not.
Okay.
This is a new SEC stadium for me. So people know I've gone to a couple of different SEC road games that we would always pick as a family, like 1 or 2 road games a year.
Mm-hmm.
For usually it was me, my dad, and my brother would make the trip. Sometimes the whole family would go, but we've done most of the SEC West, actually. The ones I have not seen are Arkansas, LSU, A&M, Georgia, and South Carolina. So I'm hoping to get most of those checked off this year.
You're not missing anything at South Carolina.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured.
That was like one of
turn
the
my lights on
first-
and off and play Sandstorm whenever I want to.
That was one of the first stadiums I went to when I worked in Alabama. That was my second full-time sports job. So I went to cover, I think it was Alabama at South Carolina.
Okay.
And I was like, first of all, no offense if you're from there, but I didn't really love it. It was kind of like a little dirty.
Yeah.
Stadium was kind of just there. I mean, the fans were good.
Yeah.
It just, there was nothing, I didn't feel like it was anything. Whereas when I went to the Swamp, I was like, no, this is a place.
Really?
This is crazy.
See, what's crazy, Kayla, when you said no offense if you're from there, I knew it was about to be very
So
offensive.
I think Kayla saying no offense.
I don't want to put anybody down from where they're from because I'm from Spokane and people, they roll on it all the time. Like,
Really?
yeah, so I
Okay.
don't ever want to put down anyone.
Kayla saying no offense is like Ramon saying respectfully.
True.
exactly
I don't
what
know
we're
why I even say it.
I don't know. Because you know you're about to say something that could be condescending, and you're like, no offense, or respectfully. That's kind of how it goes, though. It's almost like a catch.
I'm disrespectful.
See, it's always, well,
You
Josh
could
don't
just
care.
be rude. Maybe I just need to do that.
Yeah, you could. Just say it, right? What are they going to
Yeah,
say? They
what
going
are
to
you
come
gonna
check
say?
you about this? No, absolutely not.
Titans headlines yesterday. Linebacker Monty Rice designated for return off the PUP list. Practiced for the first time this season, opening up a 21-day window to make a decision on him and his status. Elsewhere on the practice field, Bud Dupree did not practice with his hip injury. Played just 9 plays against Indianapolis, still working through that. Traylon Burks, as expected, did not practice, listed with a toe injury. I think it's really good news, guys, that Ugo Amadi is back on the field, full participant. Yep. Dealing with that ankle injury. He's missed the last 2 games. Mike Keith told us going into the season that, Kayla, Ugo Amadi is as willing of a tackler as there is at the defensive back position, helping out in the run game and just making open field tackles. We mentioned it yesterday. As quickly as Carson Wentz wants to get the football out of his hands against the Titans, important to get that guy back in that nickel position that's been a revolving door so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ugo is a guy, clearly, if you don't know this, he is from Nashville. He's an Overton guy.
Bobcats.
He is a Bobcat, and he has a little bit of experience, and I think that that's what's good with Ugo, too. He got drafted by the Seattle Seahawks, so he's played up there a little bit. I got to meet him, I think, 2 seasons ago when he was doing off-season workouts with Kevin Byard and Amani Hooker. Yeah. So this is a guy that obviously puts in a lot of work in the off-season. I've seen it firsthand. And like you said, we saw him in the first couple, the first couple games, right?
That's
he was
right.
healthy for. Sir. I thought he was, like you said, sure up tackler. You could tell he was making a difference out there. And the minute that they lost him, it was kind of like, okay, shoot. You didn't know Ugo would come in and kind of make a difference in that way. And he has. So it's great to see that he'll probably be back. Yeah, he was in the locker room yesterday. It was nice to see him not riding on the scooter.
Yeah.
That was always a tough one when football players at Tennessee would be on the scooter, Ramon.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Because there are a lot of hills that you got to scoot up.
Yeah.
And I think it's making it tougher
How do
to
you
go
even
up
do
hills.
that?
Just get it done. Like, I tell people all the time, like, being injured is at the absolute worst. Like, I know it does.
I was walking around with a boot to most of my classes freshman year.
Straight up.
That has to be uncomfortable.
Oh, it was awful.
The boot is the worst, too.
My nickname, I should not give you all this ammo.
No. You're giving it to us. So
You don't tease us now. Come on, Will.
Schaefer is going to enjoy this one. My nickname was Bootstrap Bill freshman year at Tennessee because I had to wear a walking boot with my Achilles injury. For
just another nickname
months.
for you. You have like a dozen now.
Bootstrap Bill.
Bill.
It was not great. It really wasn't great.
Put on your bootstraps.
I was hurt that much.
Pull up your bootstraps.
Oh God.
I don't know that one hung on, and then they also called me Willie Jean because we played like Billie Jean or something. They're like, oh, Willie Jean. So that was another one. Yeah, it was not great.
Funny.
Again, don't know why I'm giving you all this ammo, but
Willie Jean.
it's fine.
I thought Willie Boy was good.
Yeah.
I thought Willie.
I don't
Boy
have
was
a
good.
nickname for him yet. I will come up with mine. Flow naturally.
Yeah.
So when I get comfortable with somebody, I'll just throw out something. I don't even know I said it.
Yeah,
That's how it comes for me for nicknames.
That's
so
how
you'll get
nicknames
yours,
are.
Will.
Yeah, you'll
get yours.
My best one though in high school, my high school cross country coach, Coach Smith and Coach Hudson. I know they listen all the time. Like as big of mentors as I've had in school and running, those are my guys.
Yeah.
They called me Kingpin. Because of bowling, the last name, like a bowling pin.
Okay, yeah.
But like a kingpin.
Yeah,
that was my favorite.
Okay, I get that. That
I
was
like
pretty
it.
dope, right
That's not
there.
bad.
Kingpin was a good one.
I'll be honest about mine. Like, it took a while. Like, I accept like the big ragu. That wasn't my go-to.
Really?
Like, oh no.
But why does it got to be all fancy? Why can't it just be moan?
And see, that's
like that.
the thing.
I'm not out. I don't like always fancy.
Yeah, and then my thing was, well, I didn't get paid by ragu either. So why am I just
Boom.
carrying this
That
name?
was an
There we
NIL
go.
deal
There we
before
go.
the days of
Yeah,
NIL.
Because I think
Exactly.
Craig Wolfley was trying
Craig
to get paid.
Wolfley, I think that's what it was. It doesn't bother me at all. At first, I was just like, is this really sticking?
Yeah, you're like, please don't, please
Then
don't.
it was in my Wikipedia bio, and I was like,
It was in your wiki bio.
it is in my wiki.
First of all,
It's a good
Yeah.
You like it, Shay?
it's good.
See, and that's why I never really
Well,
pushed back on it because people actually liked it. And I was like,
because
okay,
like I
cool.
call you Moan and call you homie.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Nobody, exactly. It's usually like Moan or it's like homie. It's one or the
Well,
other.
I'll take the nickname you were given in the press release that you were released on over mine. So 615-737-1043. There it is. Coming up, we will continue with our Q&K later on in the show. But Kayla, real quick, our first Q&K for you. What was your go-to favorite nickname that you had?
KK.
KK.
So
There you go.
I don't even know where this came from, but people have been calling me that now, not so much in my older life.
Yeah.
I could just call myself old. But when I was young, yes. And all the way through high school. High school, it was big. KK. I don't know how that caught on, but I think it was just easy for people to say.
KK.
And that was everywhere. I mean, that was guys, that was girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, KK. That's what
KK.
it's. Yeah, that's what it was.
I like that. KK is pretty dope. It's
like
pretty
it.
solid.
Coming up next, we continue the conversation and switch the conversation to a little bit of Vols. Voice of the Vols, Bob Kesling joins us. We'll get his thoughts on who steps up in a biggest way for Tennessee coming out of the bye week and the difficulty of playing at LSU, even though it's not under the lights. It was under the lights when Ramon Foster was pulling for Gerald Riggs to get him into the end zone, but it was a CBS game when Tennessee had 13 men on the field back in 2010. We'll get his thoughts on that. Run through the headlines for the Vols going into a very big weekend. It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on 104.5 The Zone.
Summer's over, but that joint pain is still there, and it's time to do something about it. Hey, it's Ramon Foster, and I want you to call QC Kinetics now because you've put it off long enough, and it's time to get real lasting relief from chronic pain in your knees and back and shoulders and hips. QC Kinetics can get you moving again with cutting-edge regenerative treatments with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Regenerative medicine uses highly concentrated healing properties from your own body to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. And QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in this exciting breakthrough natural approach to eliminating joint pain. Lots of people here have already done it, and they're living life to the fullest, pain-free. So don't assume the old ways of dealing with joint pain are the only ways. Call QC Kinetics today. Stop putting it off. Call now for a free consultation at 615-249-4024. Again, that's 615-249-4024.
Richardson out of the shotgun. The ball at the Tennessee 39-yard line. Richardson back to throw. Sets up. Steps up. They're going to sack him as he gets rid of the football, and it's going to be intercepted by Tennessee at the 10-yard line. Kamal Haddon intercepts it to cap off a Tennessee victory.
It was a dramatic finish the last time the Vols took the field. They are back this weekend in Baton Rouge. Big one for Tennessee that you can hear live courtesy of Vol Network. Vol Network coverage beginning at 9 a.m. here on 104.5 The Zone. Ron Slay and myself will be live from Baton Rouge at 8 a.m. this Saturday. Alongside Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Jonathan Schaefer, our producer. It is Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. I'm Will Bowling. And we are joined on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline by the voice of the Vols, Bob Kesling. Good morning, Bob. How are you?
Good morning, Bob.
Morning, Bob.
I'm great. Give me an update. Ron Slay, you're going to let him loose in the bayou?
That is the word, and the people are. Slay has told me that the only reason I am there, I'm learning, is to just chauffeur him around and make sure he gets from point A to point B and back on a flight home to Nashville. But I graciously accept this mission.
Oh, my goodness. Well, you're a brave man, so best of luck to you.
Thank you. I will need all the thoughts and prayers that I can get.
Yeah.
So, Bob, going into this game, I know it's a noon game and it's not a under the lights game in Death Valley, but where does LSU and this environment in Tiger Stadium rank for you among the best college football environments you've seen?
It's up there. I mean, it's a tough place to play at night for sure. Now, who knows? The Cajuns will probably be up all night. They'll be doing their tailgating all night long, and they'll be ready to go by the time 11 a.m. rolls around. We all know they would rather play night games, but I think from a player standpoint, I don't think it matters that much to the players. In fact, I know that Tennessee players would much rather just get up in the morning and go play the game and get on the plane and get home and get a win. And so once they kick it off, the players don't care what time it is; they got to go play. So I know that Coach Heupel's kind of downplaying all that. He's just saying they've got to get his team prepared and get ready to play. But down deep, I think they're very happy. It's a morning kickoff.
Bob, for you in this game, which player benefits the most from the bye week? Is there one guy you feel like steps into a bigger role these next few weeks?
Well, you were hoping it would be Cedric Tillman, that maybe he could get that ankle back up and going. We'll see. They say he's doing a little things, but that was a surgery on an ankle a couple of weeks ago. So we'll just have to wait and see if he can go on Saturday. But I think for Tennessee, one of the areas that is going to benefit them, the open dates, would be the running backs. All three of them were kind of banged up. Small had the shoulder. And then Jalen Wright had I guess it was an ankle, and then Sampson had an ankle too. So hopefully you got 2 weeks to heal those guys up, because I do think running the football against this LSU team is going to be critical because of the fact that they love to pin their ears back and go after quarterbacks, especially Largy, who's on that end, who is the defensive player of the week for the second time this year. He really disrupted the Auburn offense. And so you want to try and keep him from just pinning his ears back, and to do that, you got to run the football. So, and we all know Tennessee does want to run the football. So they've got to get those running backs healthy. And I'm thinking the 2 weeks has really helped them.
Bob, as far as this team goes, man, like you look at it and say, yeah, you're undefeated, you're a top 10 team, but you see this team daily. Where are they as far as poise, being able to handle this ranking, being able to go on the road to Death Valley in an SEC environment to go try to churn out a win?
Well, Josh Heupel has done a very good job about telling them, listen, rankings now don't mean anything.
Right.
It's rankings where you are in November that really mean anything. Just because you're number 8 in the country, you still got a bunch of big games to play, and who knows where you're going to wind up. If you don't take care of business, you won't be ranked for very long. So they've handled it. This team, Ramon, you've been around them. They are very focused, and I think Josh Heupel, in fact, on Vol Calls last night, he was talking about they're getting better and better as a practice team, and that's really a good sign that they're concentrating on the job that's ahead of them and not looking too far ahead. So again, Josh Heupel's teams have always been prepared, and they've always come out and they've executed the game plan. Now, the games they lost last year is just
basically because the teams they played that beat them might have been better on that day. But it's not because they weren't prepared. It wasn't that they weren't ready to play. And I think that'll be the case on Saturday. They'll have a great plan against LSU. Then now you just go out and execute it and make sure you don't have the penalties that can set you back. You know, they had penalties against Pittsburgh that really kept them from really taking that game, taking it over and letting Pittsburgh stay around. And kind of the same thing against Florida. You can't have mistakes and turnovers. And in those games, they had those, and that's what allowed those other teams to stick around. So it's about, Ramon, it's going on the road and blocking out the crowd and not making mistakes and giving the other team easy touchdowns.
And speaking of easy touchdowns, man, watch what Anthony Richardson did at Florida, in Knoxville, and just having a similar type quarterback this week, maybe not as talented as Anthony Richardson, but the ability for that defense to kind of contain him. What's the challenge that we're going to see versus LSU's quarterback?
Well, he has a lot more designed runs, I think, in their offense than maybe Richardson did. Richardson did a lot of that just getting outside the pocket and doing it on his own. But Daniels, he's run the ball more than their running backs have. He's got 60 carries on the season, and I think their top running back is about 34. So that tells you that he's very much a part of the game plan. Now, he's got a bunch of great receivers, but he doesn't throw the ball downfield very much, and that's been one of the knocks on him. Butte is a guy that's he was an All-American candidate coming into the season. He's only caught a handful of passes, and he's only had a handful of targets. So you want to know if Daniels is a guy that wants to run the ball first and then throw the ball second. But Tennessee still has to contain him. And running quarterbacks have given this defense some problems in the last 2 years. And Daniels, I think, certainly wants to run the football, and that'll be a key thing for Tennessee to try and keep him contained. And that puts the pressure on Tyler Barron and Byron Young to make sure they keep him in the pocket and get a good pass rush on him.
Bob, when it comes to Hendon Hooker, we've heard so much about him. We've seen him early on this season. He continues to get better. And there's been a lot of people talking about him on the national level. I know his name's up there in terms of Heisman hopeful. Just how impressed have you been with how he's handled everything and how much growth do you think he still could have this season? Does he have a potential to maybe be one of those guys in the Heisman hunt?
If he keeps this up, he will be. I mean, I don't think there's any question about that. His numbers are eye-popping when you start looking at them. And the fact that his touchdown to interception ratio is one of the best of all time in college football. I mean, knock on wood, he hasn't thrown an interception yet. He's thrown over 200 passes, and that's really impressive, the fact that he takes care of the football. That has been one of the key things for him is the fact that he knows that he can't turn the ball over, can't throw it away, and those type things. And he gives his receivers, which I think is one of his greatest traits, he puts the ball where only his guys can have a shot at it. He doesn't really take a lot of chances. You notice that he doesn't kind of squeeze it into double and triple team coverage. I mean, he's making he's finding out who's supposed to be open, and he gets them the ball. But I think the other thing about Hooker, his decision-making is so unbelievable. And that comes back to film study. He'll tell you he studies 18 to 20 hours of film every week. So, and, he's been around college football so long. There's not many defenses he hadn't seen and hasn't been able to react to. And his calmness is something, and his confidence is something that has rubbed off on this team. I think when he gets in the huddle, those guys have supreme confidence in him that he's going to make a play, and he's going to put them in a good play. And I just think that Hendon Hooker continues to grow in that aspect. And the more film study he makes, the better he gets a quarterback. And when your head coach has a lot of confidence in you and puts big load on you, and you handle it, I mean, that even makes him grow bigger and better all the time. So I've really been impressed with Hendon Hooker. He's the same guy he was last year when he didn't win the job. He hadn't changed. I mean, he's kind of the same calm, confident guy, very intelligent that you've seen from day one when he arrived on campus.
Paint the picture for us in Knoxville, because us here in Nashville, we have plenty of Vols fans. I'm in the room with two Vol alums right here.
Yes, you are.
But really, this is a top 10 team right now. There's a lot of excitement, obviously, in Knoxville. What has it been like just, having them be a top 10 team this year and proving, so far when they are playing in these games that they're worthy of that?
Well, it's been fun. I mean, everybody, you go to church, you go to the bank, you go to the convenience store, they're all talking about Tennessee football, which, that's the way it used to be back in the 90s and when Tennessee was really good back even in the 70s. And so it's, Tennessee football in this state is pretty much 365. I mean, it's every day people want to know what's going on with the football team and how's the quarterback doing and who's going to be this and who you're recruiting and all those type things. And, your preachers at church will tell you, after the Florida game, all the donations went up.
Hallelujah.
Feeling pretty good about themselves on Sunday morning. So it even helps the churches and things when Tennessee's doing well. So, it's been fun. It's been fun watching them grow and watching this team play. I just enjoy watching them play because I think they are so well coached, and I think they are so motivated. They think they're doing something special. They think they're getting Tennessee football back to where it should be and where it has been in the past. And you could just tell that these players are taking a lot of pride in that, and they're working hard. And it's just been a fun process to see how Josh Heupel has put this thing together, how he's building it, and how they get better every week. And now they got to go play on Saturday. I mean, this is not going to be an easy game. Anybody thinks that, just because Tennessee's 4-0 that LSU's going to roll over. That's not going to happen. I mean, LSU has fought back from 2 games in the SEC where they were down double digits, and their second half performance against Auburn was really, really impressive. And their defense comes up with big plays and takes the ball away and creates some offense for them. So this is going to be a dogfight on Saturday, and Tennessee's going to have to play really well and to go down there and win because Baton Rouge is going to be a tough place for them to play. It'll be much more raucous than Pittsburgh was, and Tennessee got a win on the road at Pittsburgh, but this will be a tougher assignment on Saturday.
Voice of the Vols, Bob Kesling, with us here this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. So, Bob, when you look at the matchups, where does Tennessee, in your eye, have the biggest advantage over LSU?
LSU secondary is kind of patchwork. They've come up with a bunch of transfers back there, and they're trying to blend those guys in. The Auburn game, they gave up a couple of big plays in the first half, allowing Auburn to get those 2 touchdowns and jump out to that 17-0 lead. So while, Brian Kelly's trying to put this team together, I mean, they went heavily into the transfer portal and because they're trying to rebuild things and patch things up here. But I think Tennessee has a big advantage in their secondary. Their secondary has a tendency to bust some plays. They're missing a couple of guys back in the secondary out with injuries. And so I think Tennessee has a chance to get some big plays offensive. Well, they do every week. They have a chance for big plays. But I think they've really got a chance to give this LSU secondary a lot of problems. And I think that they can strike them and get some big plays out of their secondary. Now, the front 7 is a different deal. Their front 7 is really good and physical and big and strong. And but I think their secondary is vulnerable, and Tennessee needs to take advantage of that.
And go ahead,
Bob. Just real quick, for Tennessee's secondary, Josh Heupel announces this week they lose Warren Burrell at the cornerback position. Who steps up into that role? How much do you think we see the junior college transfer D. Williams for the first time in a Tennessee uniform this week?
Well, I think they hope that he's ready to step in and play because they're really thin at corner. I mean, they've got a lot of guys in the secondary, but most of those guys are safeties, and they don't have many true cornerbacks back there. In fact, I think right now they're probably down to 2, and that's Haddon and Charles. And D. Williams, I think, will play out there, and that'll give them a third. But they're thin at cornerback, and so that's a concern as well. So you're just trying to figure out if one of these young guys can step up and give them some minutes there at the cornerback spot. But they're thin, and that's and I'm sure LSU knows that as well. So that's a key for Tennessee to kind of make sure they can get this secondary to play well. And there's going to be a lot of pressure on Charles and Haddon to be in there most of the game. So we'll hope they can hold up to that.
I was just going to ask, as far as this identity finally that this offensive line seemed to be grabbing onto, have you been impressed by that? It seemed like it's kind of led by Jerome Carvin with just this. They have an attitude now. We hadn't seen that in a while.
Well, you know what, Ramon, if you would have told me last year that Javonte Spraggins would be an SEC Offensive Lineman of the Week, you would think, well, I'm not sure that's ever going to happen. Well, it has, and that just shows his improvement and how much better he is playing. And he plays with a little bit of edge on him.
Mm-hmm.
And Cooper Mays has really been kind of underrated in all of this because he's done a really good job of keeping those guys organized and making good calls at the line of scrimmage and playing well. And then Carvin, I think, has been playing outstanding football. And the tackles are holding up,
Yep.
and they're giving Hooker some time to make some plays. So I think it's an underrated offensive line. I think that they know they still have room to improve, and they've got to make sure that they keep Hendon Hooker standing up straight so he can throw the football and run when he can. But I think you're right. I think Spraggins and Carvin have really played well in this offensive line, and I think Carvin is underrated as well. He's played a lot of football here at Tennessee, and I think he's been very, very solid for them. And they're not giving up many sacks, and Hooker's he's getting hit some, but not as much as most quarterbacks are getting. So he's got time to operate, and that's a credit to the offensive line.
Voice of the Vols, Bob Kesling, has been our guest. Of course, Fall Network coverage starts here at 9 a.m. Central Time on 104.5 The Zone this Saturday from Baton Rouge. Have a good call this Saturday, Bob. We appreciate the time as always.
Thanks. Well, I'll keep a lookout for Slay. If anything happens down there, I'll try and get him out of trouble.
If you see somebody sprinting shirtless into the stadium, just know that he's all right, and I'm somewhere close behind him trying to keep him in line.
There you go. Okay, well, good luck. Okay. Hey, thanks. Hey, you guys have a great weekend. Enjoy the game.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate the time as always. It's thoughts and prayers to me, please.
Bob hit you with
Thoughts
that
and
good
prayers.
luck. I was like,
Yeah.
This is Slay at LSU. If you see something, say something.
Yes.
Coming up, Bob talks about the biggest matchup advantage he sees for Tennessee against LSU. I see another one for LSU when they are on offense. And I'm going to bring this to you guys because LSU has done something for the first time since 1985 that is not necessarily a good thing. When you talk about this Tigers team and specifically
Brian Kelly?
where they are on offense, him and his family are still getting acclimated, Jonathan
Family.
Schaefer. Come on.
family.
It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, 104.5 The Zone.
Good morning, good people. You know you guys have heard me speaking about this journey that I'm on. It is, hey, Ramon Sheds Them All. I might name it something like that, but I need to tell you this. Go to myphdweightloss.com if you are looking for that change, and especially before this holiday season come up and it get colder and you don't want to go outside, because the biggest part about weight loss is this. It's the diet. You got to know what your plan is. That's the best part about what's going on with me and my PhD weight loss is they have formatted a schedule around my busy life. I'm always at a baseball park. I'm always at a practice. I'm always at somewhere doing something. They have formatted a plan for me that gives me a breakfast, that gives me my snacks, that gives me my dinner. It has a plan for me. And it's not just, hey, a stock plan for anybody. No, it's a plan designed specifically for you. On average, most men are losing about 3 to 5 pounds per week. Most female clients are losing 2 to 3 pounds per week. If this is something you're into, please go to myphdweightloss.com. I promise you will not be disappointed. It's not like you're eating grainy foods or it's chalk that you're chewing on. No, absolutely none of those things. They will figure it out for you the same as they have for me. And I'll be honest with you. No cravings. No hunger pains, no regrets. Whatever you are looking for, you're able to get this done through the good people at myphdweightloss.com. Again, go visit them at myphdweightloss.com.
It's a great night to be a Tiger. I'm here with my family, and we are so excited to be in the great state of Louisiana, but more importantly, to be with you great fans, and to be part of what is going to be an incredible ride here at Louisiana State University.
Greenbow, Alabama. Brian Kelly, ladies and gentlemen. It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on 104.5 The Zone. The question we are asking the people on Twitter is, which one makes you cringe more? Brian Kelly's Southern accent or the "We Are Commanders" bum 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 chant?
Oh my God!
For Washington Commanders.
That Commanders thing gets me. I'm sorry, because they kept doing it.
Yeah.
Like, they thought it was so cool that they kept repeating it.
Like, granddad, stop, man.
Yeah.
Who knew
It's
Russell
not
Wilson
cool.
was a Washington Commander before he was
Right?
ever a Denver Bronco?
Straight up.
Commanders
Oh,
Nation.
man.
Let's ride.
Like, I didn't realize how much he
Ew.
was speaking in a foreign language with the way he was talking, Brian Kelly. My family, with you good
I do declare.
fans. It really is Andy Bernard. When they did the
Well, you got so Savannah accent.
a
It's sort of like
Savannah accent.
molasses just sort of spilling out your mouth.
that's like,
At least it wasn't that bad.
like I know certain people like pick up on stuff whenever you
Yeah.
talk to people for a certain
do.
amount of time.
100%.
Like
Sure.
you do that, right? That's a natural
He wasn't
thing.
He wasn't there long enough
He
to do
wasn't
that.
there. Thank you.
Family.
Oh God.
Bum 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 bum. Just combine them.
I can't believe somebody actually made that
That's
video.
so bad.
Oh my gosh, man! But this LSU matchup, Will,
Family.
Yeah, it's
messing
and
around.
that,
Oh,
ladies and
wow.
gentlemen,
That's
ladies and
great.
gentlemen, and Brent Doherty is why Jonathan
producer
Schaefer
in the world.
is the best producer in the world.
Craig. The world.
The world.
I love the last part.
Schaefer,
Right?
I might even say it's phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Phenom.
only one phenom.
Anyway, for the first time since 1985, LSU is starting true freshmen at left tackle and right tackle. And it's been problematic as much as that chant has been. Will Campbell at left tackle. You've got Emory Jones Jr. at right tackle. LSU has used the same offensive line combination in back-to-back games once this year.
Wow.
And once
Ooh,
since
that's-
the end of last season, a streak of 5 straight games that was snapped in week 4 against New Mexico. Jaden Daniels is certainly a guy, as Bob Kesling mentions to us, that is more of a designed runner, perhaps, than Anthony Richardson was.
Okay.
I still am concerned about Tennessee's defense just stopping a mobile quarterback and an athletic quarterback. And although it didn't show up on the stat sheet for Anthony Richardson like it did for Matt Corral, rushing for 222 yards. I wish I was exaggerating. Rushing for 222 yards against Tennessee in that game last year that I think just ended a couple minutes ago because it took so long. It still showed up in the deep passing game that Richardson had. Kayshon Boutte does not have a touchdown catch this season. He hasn't even gone over 100 yards for the entire season. First-round pick wide receiver. I think this is a Kayshon Boutte game for LSU, and I think that it starts with that left and right tackle protecting Jaden Daniels.
That's what I was going to tell you, Will. Don't speak that too much into existence.
Well,
man.
Right?
We did that the
Gotta
same
get
week
out in front of it.
with Anthony Richardson, man. It was like he's due a game, and I'll be dogged if he didn't have a
Yeah.
game, man. As far as the running quarterback goes, though, Will, that's my biggest thing. You said the young freshmen are Will Campbell.
Will Campbell and Emory Jones Jr.
Emory Jones Jr. They actually had him as an inside interior offensive lineman, man. So I guess he's position flexible. 6'4", 341. Okay. They're both playing tackles? This to me says that their quarterback will be moving around. Like the defense. I think our defensive ends will be able to get after these two young guys. They are some 4-star guys, high 4-star guys at that. And they're true freshmen, too. Having them on the edge, the pursuit to the quarterback against LSU has to be at a premium this week. You know how that goes, man. These young guys, I feel like, will step up to the challenge. They're going to be protected. You're probably going to see tight ends staying in or them getting chipped on the outside edge or running back standing in the backfield. The quarterback running, Will, to your point, it's got to be huge. And not just the quarterback running, him scrambling and hitting Boutte down the sideline or open pass because the defense loses track or expect them to get him behind the line of scrimmage.
And let's give some stats here
Okay.
with Daniels, because Daniels, LSU's leading rusher, 321 yards, 3 touchdowns, completed 68% of his passes, 950 yards. 6 touchdowns, no interceptions. Like you said, dual threat, can do it all.
Absolutely.
And I think the biggest asset for him in this game is that it's at LSU.
Mm-hmm.
And you had talked about the Vols going on the road at Pitt. Look, no, I'm not going to say it. Pitt is Pitt.
Right.
Right? And that's a different environment. It's not a bad environment, but LSU, like going to the Bayou, going down there, it's going to be different for this team. And I think Josh Heupel will have his guys prepared, but it's also home for these Tigers, who, by the way, just slipped up into the top 25, who are gaining some confidence and a momentum.
Right.
So you got a guy like this who already is kind of doing his thing right now, and he's going to do it in a comfortable environment.
Like,
so
what you're saying, he's the reason why they're ascending. 100%. And he's playing at home, Kayla, to your point.
That's what
Which means they get to play in front of their families.
Yep, their families.
That's right.
Yeah.
On them. Coming up next, we continue the conversation and look at Thursday night football coming up tonight. A game that Rhett Bryan tells us yesterday is quite a big one for Chris Ballard and Frank Reich. It's a 3-game stretch where the Colts could end up at the top of the AFC South as they play Denver, Jacksonville, and the Titans coming off of the bye week. Or it's a game that could see them have a new general manager and or head coach at this point in the season. We take a look at that. Plus, we continue with our Q&K for today. Shout out to Shane on the YouTube chat for the name on this segment as we continue to get to know our newest teammate, Kayla Anderson. Halftime of the show, third quarter. When we come back, it's Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on 104.5 The Zone.
God, that was the worst thing I've
Straight up 8 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com sports desk. Titans linebacker Monty Rice has returned to practice from the PUP list. The team has 3 weeks to activate him. Ola Adani, Traylon Burks, Zach Cunningham, Bud Dupree, Joe Jones, all not practicing yesterday. The Titans will face Washington Sunday at noon. Thursday night football tonight, Indianapolis at Denver, 7:17 to be precise, will be the kickoff. You can hear the game courtesy of Westwood One right here on The Zone. Jonathan Taylor has been ruled out for the Colts. The Braves are the second seed in the Major League Baseball playoffs. They will face the winner of the Philadelphia-St. Louis best-of-3 series. And the fan who ran onto the field during the Rams' loss at the 49ers on Monday night filed a police report against Rams linebacker Bobby Wagner. Maybe Wagner should have hit him harder. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your Over the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
The show goes on into the second half. It is Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors here in Nashville. Kayla Anderson, Ramon Foster, Will Bowling, made possible by the wonderful production stylings of one Jonathan Schaefer.
The best producer.
We don't know how many worlds exist out there, but in this one, he is the best producer. You can join us on the phone lines at 615-737-1045, a topic that we could use your interaction on coming up in about 15 minutes, where we give fraud or for real of some teams around the National Football League. One of those teams that I think many believe is a fraud. Maybe people just don't even think they're good enough to be considered a fraud because they're just bad. The Denver Broncos. Once again in primetime tonight.
They are.
Against the Indianapolis Colts.
That reminds me, switching out fantasy quarterback.
Oh, yes. Smart.
He's been bad with me, too.
Smart.
I got him.
Like, Russ, first of all,
Yep.
you won a Super Bowl with my Seahawks.
That's
Okay,
right.
great. But, bro, you ain't doing it down in Denver right now.
He was really likable to me. I was a big Russell Wilson guy. Goober. He became a goober. He
Yeah,
became like J.J. Watt level corny to me really quickly.
No.
For what reasons? Like, most of the time, like, J.J. Watt was the only thing Houston had, right? Can we be real? Like,
Yeah,
it was J.J. Watt, three-time Defensive Player of the Year, or
At his
four-time.
best, they were running the AFC South.
They
still.
were
Yeah.
running it. And a good portion of the AFC, like, they were doing their
They
thing.
couldn't win playoff games, but they would win the division.
And they had a very solid team. And then JJ ascended to the top because, one, he was that good. And then I think a lot of guys have that aha moments like, oh, I'm about to become the dude.
Yep.
And then the productions get bigger. Then they get commercials. Like, and then I always have that conversation like, well, certain guys realize that their Hall of Fame is within their reach. So I get JJ, right?
But JJ's a little different.
Yeah.
Because Russ rubs me as just a little bit phony. And that's the words coming from my friends up in the Pacific Northwest that covered the Seahawks.
Really?
It was the year that they came here.
Okay.
And it was early on. And somebody, a photographer friend of mine who covered him, I was talking about Russ. I said, how's Russ? You know, he was still fairly new. And he was like, man, he's like, I don't like him.
Really?
He's kind of phony with us.
Interesting.
I go, oh, okay.
And you know that too. You know, like, you can tell when there's a switch. Like, everybody got a switch. I'll be honest with you. I got a switch.
You gotta
Everybody
turn it
got
on
a switch,
sometimes.
right?
Yeah.
But most of the time, this person you hear right now
Exactly.
is the person you're going to get in public, too.
Yep.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what
true.
you're going to get.
Can
And
confirm.
I think what people don't like, I guess the issues they have with Russ sometimes is just like, which one are you? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. And then it's the theatrics with the cameras and middle of the logo stuff that he does. Like, Tebow was the same way.
Yeah. Tebow wasn't good enough, though, to me for it to really
Right.
matter in the NFL.
Really?
I think Tebow was just doing it because that's who he is. It's not like it's, hey, I'm a superstar. I've got to put on a show for the camera. Tebow's doing it because that's who Tim Tebow is.
Okay, so is this Russ then?
I think at this point in his career, yes.
Yes. Okay.
He's spoken it into existence. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
Ciara doesn't seem that way. I don't know.
Sierra? No. Like Sierra is just who she is. It seems
Is it
like
Ciara or Sierra?
Sierra.
Sierra, yeah.
Sierra. Yeah.
I always thought
She's
it was
a star
Ciara too
now.
until recently.
She's been a star.
Oh, yeah.
But he lost me when he was doing the practice huddle on the field 2 hours before the game. He was kneeling on the 5-yard line. Was this in Pittsburgh? I feel like it was.
I think it was.
It might have been.
Week 2.
It was some primetime game,
Yeah.
and he knew it was a primetime game.
It was pandemic too.
And he was on a knee. Like he was talking in the huddle to guys around him, and there's no one within 50 yards of him.
Because he had the finger issue, didn't he?
Oh, God.
Oh,
he couldn't
yes.
play. Yeah.
It was really weird. So I have no time for people who clearly have an elite level of camera awareness, is what I like to call this.
Yeah.
J.J. Watt lost me when on Hard Knocks, he put his arm around Deshaun Watson walking off the field after they lost a game to the Titans, I believe. After they lost a game when they were bad, the first time they were really bad, he put his arm around Deshaun Watson and said, "Man, I'm so sorry we couldn't do better for you. I'm so sorry we couldn't win for you, Deshaun. Buddy, you know there's a camera right behind you. You really don't have to do this.
Yeah, I
You
can't.
really don't have to do this."
But
And then
okay.
J.J. Watt last week when he said, "I want to get out in front of news that's going to come out about me. You know, my heart had issues and I had to be shocked back into rhythm this week. I'm going to play though on Sunday." Like, buddy, like it's really not that big of a deal. Like, you maybe shouldn't be playing. A, like I'm burying the lead here.
Yeah.
But B, like what are we doing, man?
It's crazy too, because like I'm looking at my fantasy
Yeah.
quarterbacks right now, and only 61% are playing Russ right now. Like that's
He
a
had
big drop.
last week was his first week having a good game.
Yeah.
It was his last, and the only reason I didn't substitute him was because I had Jameis also,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then there was
Oh.
nobody on the waiver wire. I'm like, at this point, do I go get Geno?
Yes, I know, right? Hey, Geno, one offensive player of the week.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
God, it's all like,
Haters writing him off. He
You
didn't
know?
write back.
I might put
It's
Geno
a
in
great
this
line.
week. There you go.
Great
you
line.
feel me though? Like
That's
Yeah.
how I feel when I'm inconvenienced to the most in the
What's-
smallest possible way. Hey, haters wrote me off, but I didn't write back.
who said that? That's actually
Geno
really
Smith
good.
said that
Geno
after the
said
Monday
that?
night game to beat Denver in Week 1.
Oh wow!
Like any conversation I come out of talking with Buck Rising afterwards, just like, hey, the haters wrote me off. I didn't write back. All right, appreciate it.
That's actually a real good line. Right
The
there.
the J.J. Watt tweet was, "I was told somebody leaked personal information about me, and it's going to be reported on today. I went into AFib on Wednesday, had my heart shocked back into rhythm Thursday, and I'm playing today. That's it." Dumb. Like, buddy, like, come on. And so the first response was, "Sounds like something an NFL doctor would approve."
Yeah.
You know what I'd have told
not great.
JJ? Listen, people don't care about the labor pains, man. Just deliver the daggone baby, okay?
Right?
Where's the baby at, JJ? You playing or not? Okay? Getting out in front of the news. I
Well.
got some news for you.
So for today's Q&K,
Let me stop. Okay, go ahead.
for today's
I'm choosing violence.
For
right
today's
now.
Q&K, our questions for our new teammate, Kayla Anderson. We've talked a lot about TV shows today. I've quoted a lot of The Office. My first question for you, Kayla, is what is your all-time most quoted television show that you quote the most?
I don't really quote things.
Okay.
I'm not really
So
a
just what's your
quoter.
favorite television show?
Man. This might take me a minute.
I was
going
going
to
to try to
doesn't
put
make
you
good
less.
radio
I was
when
going to try to put you
pause,
less
so-
on the spot by doing the quotable thing, but
Yeah, because I don't do the quote thing. They're just
Okay.
I know a lot of guys. I feel like guys do quotes.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
like
because
as a
you get-
woman, I just don't feel
You get like two guys
like
in a
I do a
room
lot of quotes.
and we'll sit and quote our favorite shows and then just like talk about games and be like, man, yeah, that was a
okay.
game that we watched.
So can this be like a series?
Absolutely.
Of course.
Whatever. It's your answers.
So one of my favorite series of all time, and it's not even that old. Have you seen Dexter?
I have not. I've heard about
I watched
that.
a couple episodes of it and never got into it, but isn't
gotta kinda
isn't
have
it
a
getting rebooted?
It did already. I already
Oh, really?
watched the
Okay.
reboot. Yeah, but it had been on for several seasons and then ended, and then was off. It was gone for like 3 or 4 years, and then they brought it back. I think a couple years ago. I watched that. The reboot was not great.
Yeah.
But the original Dexter, if you like that kind of stuff, is really, really good.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm actually not, and this is not going to get a lot of fans on my side, but I'm not a huge comedy person when it comes to like sitcoms. Just not really my cup of tea.
Okay.
I guess I'm a little more dark.
Is it?
Right?
Yeah.
I'm a little more dark.
You're on that Pac early. I was like, okay,
Right?
well,
I'm on the Pac early.
Yeah, you're on that Tupac
You're like,
early.
Tupac's your favorite artist? What?
Yeah. So is it you're not into those sitcoms because you got like a lot going on all the time too?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And so for me, if I'm going to do anything when I go and I'm going to redo it on like Netflix, or it's got to be something where I can have some time.
Yeah.
Just my schedule has always been crazy in local TV news and sports. There's just not a lot of downtime to schedule for shows.
Yep.
And even
Sure,
if you
I get
record
that.
them, you barely have time to watch them. So I've just never had a chance to get. But if you go back in the day, man, like Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
If I go back in the day,
Yeah.
I'm
That's
all
where
about
you're at.
some Saved by the Bell. Yeah.
That's me, man. I got so many like 90 Day Fiance episodes.
Excuse me?
Yeah, man.
90 Day Fiance?
On
Before the
purpose?
on purpose. Dude, Big Ed?
What channel is that even on?
That's on Discovery, ain't it?
I don't ever
no,
wanna
that's
hear
on TLC.
I don't ever want to hear you give me any grief for watching The Bachelor. Ever.
No,
Not
it's
one time.
it's-
Not a peep out of you.
What you're watching is a suburban version. I'm in the hood watching 90 Day
my
Fiance.
goodness.
They going to these countries, man, finding these people they never met before, Will. Like that's and like not just that, tricking off too, okay? Like sending cash. Big Ed sent Rose was her name. Like
You were speaking a foreign language.
tons of
What
money.
is that?
Yeah, it's like they're getting swindled by these people like overseas and stuff. And like, Usman from Nigeria? Oh my gosh.
When the
I'm telling
deposed
y'all.
Prince of Nigeria reaches out to you about his son, you help.
Dude, he's had 2 females
Office
on this
quote
show
again.
already, man. He's had 2 different women on this show. The latest one, listen to me, she's from San Diego. The Schaefer's losing it right now.
Schaefer's
You have
like,
to understand, I got Big Ed to do a cameo for Ramon for Christmas one year.
Schaefer, can you just
You
like
have got
slowly
to be
fade his
kidding.
mic
This is-
down as he goes into this?
I did not
That
expect this
spiel
from
about-
Ramon.
Oh,
I
this is
really didn't.
ridiculous.
I'm
Hey, tell
telling
him
you.
in the back, Mo.
Yeah, I'm telling you, he got me right, man. Big Ed did a happy birthday cameo for me.
It's like the best moment of your life.
I'm talking about, I was hype, because people are like, what do I get you, Mo? A cameo was it for me. But Big Ed and Rose, man, but Usman, he freaking swindled this woman, okay? She bought him a PS5 and a MacBook laptop, and she's been funding his music
How
career.
do you fall for that?
See, now you're hooked. She ain't even watched
Oh
it yet,
my
Will.
goodness, no! Don't do this.
Now, Kayla, 90 Day Fiance
We
is
can't enable
it.
him.
It's like Ron Riviera yesterday that you
Oh,
made me say.
You see what I'm saying? Now Kayla's like,
This
do
is
I need
bad
to DVR
influence.
this? I guess so. My Q and K is this: favorite
Yeah.
music genre.
Whoa, 90s rap and R&B,
There you
baby.
go.
Yeah, there we go.
100%.
See, there we go. That's what I'm with. So you
Like, let me tell a story real quick.
go ahead. I
Please
need to
do.
hear this.
Let me tell a story real quick. So, when I was at the NASCAR Awards a few years ago, it was the first ones here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Eddie George was on the carpet. A whole bunch of it was before the pandemic one.
Mm-hmm.
A whole bunch of, Nashville stars were kind of walking the carpet before the show. And Eddie was one of the performers, or what is it called? Not performers, but
Recipients.
presenters.
Okay,
Thank you.
there we go.
So he was one of the presenters, and he's walking down the red carpet. And I had known Eddie from Ohio State, Columbus. We had done some stuff in Columbus with him.
Right.
And because he, I was up there a lot too. So I introduced myself and I said, okay, you ready? We're going to do this interview one-on-one. And before the interview, I was like, I just want to tell you I love your wife. Yeah. SWV.
SSWV.
And he's like, put me on the spot. He goes, what's your favorite song? And I immediately go, I get so weak in the knees, I can hardly. And he was like, whoa.
Hold up.
He
Do
was
that
like,
again. Do that
okay.
again.
Whoa, whoa.
Kayla got some
I think we got
vocals in
something
here.
here.
So he goes,
How does it go again? What is the song?
I get so weak in the knees, I can hardly see.
There it is.
I just messed it up, but
Go
you know.
on.
Yeah.
Go
okay.
on, Kayla.
Hey, Will's
So
no
anyway.
longer the only one on the show that can sing.
That's right.
Take that, Will.
That's right. I will happily accept
I
it.
met her also at a training facility. She
She
was
is
rehabbing
awesome,
at. Yeah,
man.
she's super dope. And I fanboyed out too.
Yeah. I'm like, I
Respectfully.
don't care about you, Eddie. I'm a
That's
fan
right.
of SWV.
Yeah, you get it.
The more you know. Anyway, the hidden talents of one Kayla Anderson. We're trying to unhide them. She's got a lot of talents. This is good stuff.
Yeah, that did it for me.
All right.
Should get an invite to the cookout now.
I guess
Schaefer's
mine.
back there. He's like, we're not doing this segment anymore.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are.
Anyway, up next, a
You can
topic.
sing all day. I'm fine with that. I mean, we're good.
A topic we want your interaction on at 615-737-1045. There are a lot of good teams in the NFL behind Philadelphia and Buffalo who are great. Who is a fraud and who is for real in the National Football League this season? Coach Tate McGinnis coming up at hour number 4. Lots more still to come. At Ramon Kayla Will on Twitter. You can find us there and watch on 104.5 The Zone TV as well. We're powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville, and we continue after this.
For nearly 80 years, Lee Company has been providing A-plus customer service to Tennesseans for all their home service needs. In fact, Lee Company is as synonymous with Tennessee as country music and chess pie. That's right. HVAC, plumbing, electrical, and so much more from Lee Company, who's been doing it right for nearly 80 years. From heating tune-ups to mounting your TV for the big game. Yeah, that's definitely handy right now. You can check out and follow Lee Company all over social media, on Facebook, also on Twitter and LinkedIn. You can also go to Instagram at lee.company and stay up to date on home tips and special offers. So again, all over social media, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. That's where you can find Lee Company. Lee Company, all you need.
I know that you're gonna
Hour number
have
3
a
of Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors here at 104.5 The Zone. The musical stylings of one Kayla Anderson sweeping the nation. Here on the show, Will Bowling, Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Jonathan Schaefer with you. We give our frauds or for real in the National Football League. My one more Q and K today, Kayla. What is your karaoke song?
Oh, Black Velvet, baby.
Black Velvet?
Yep.
Okay, which one is Black? Do I know Black Velvet?
Black Velvet and that little boy stuff.
Yeah, she's going
That-
80s one-hit wonder.
Yeah.
I don't know
Oh,
that
it's
one.
good.
You have
It's
to put
soul.
me up on that one.
Mm-hmm. Look it up. It's a
Yeah,
really
I'm
good.
trying to
It's
remember
actually
her
a
name.
really good song.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember her name.
Dang, Shafe, you 1
I'll
and
look
3
it
in
up.
fantasy?
Wait, where did we just switch this?
Random.
Yeah, you want to know why, Moan?
Why?
Ramon taking over the lead, the driving of the show.
Y'all redrafted and I didn't know about it, so it auto-picked.
Alana
Why do you sound like you're
Miles,
talking
by
like
the
Brian
way.
Kelly right now?
Oh,
Alana Miles is the name.
You got the
Miles.
Brian
Shut
Kelly
up.
cadence going
so I
on.
don't give a flying what happens, all right?
Wow.
Peasants.
I really the ability of you to make arguments but add sounds to them. It's a little unfair.
That's amazing.
That is
Little
unfair.
unfair.
Shafe.
The best producer in the world.
Okay.
Of the world, Craig. The world.
Okay. All right. Anyway.
It's a Craig out
Yeah,
here
Schaefer
right
was
now.
getting into the Brian Kelly of like, you guys auto-drafted while I was with my family. Anyway. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to jump in.
You want me to do it in Joe Hunk voice?
Please do.
Oh, No.
Does he do Joe Hunk?
Yeah, he does.
Oh, he
Whoa,
does.
He does.
I was
appreciate you guys doing the auto draft, man. You changed, we drafted, and then someone decided we needed to redraft, so mine auto drafted.
And you're home on the flagship station for the Titans, the home of the Tennessee Vols, and the home to 3HL out at B-Dubs. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Use code word Joe Hunk.
I think it's amazing.
H-U-N-K.
I think his voice is so cool.
Really?
It's cool.
See,
It's like is that his natural? He doesn't do anything.
No,
to
that's the way he speaks.
That's incredible.
It's not a bit.
Y'all just gonna
not a
pile
bit.
on the Joe Hunk today.
No,
Okay.
I don't. I didn't
Gargle
say anything.
gravel.
I like it.
And what's worse
It's unique.
is Ron Slayer's in the chat laughing at it right now. That's what's worse.
Ron's in the chat.
Ron's lurking,
Hyping
laughing
it
at
up.
somebody.
He's like the chat hype.
He
Like,
is.
He's the hype man.
This is what he does. He's like raising the roof there in the chat.
Everyone
trying to get
needs
going.
a hype man like Ron Slay in their lives.
Everybody needs a hype man.
Yeah, that's right.
Everybody needs a hype man.
I agree.
I think
wait.
Slay does. Slay says that's not his voice. No, it's because
Oh,
it's
it's
not.
not. It's really not.
It is.
It is,
For
but
the,
it ain't.
the update, he pours it on a whole lot.
I am learning so many new things today.
I don't know if this is a good thing.
104.5 The Zone TV is where you can join us in that chat. Watch it on YouTube where Andrew with an interesting comment saying, you know who else should auto draft? John Robinson in the first round.
Hey, man.
Wow.
Look though. Hey, look, Andrew. Andrew.
I got
Choose
nothing.
violence.
You
Slay
gonna-
says, "Stop Will" in
No.
the chat. What is it? Do you want me to stop saying you're everybody's best hype man? Do you want me to
No,
stop
no,
hyping
he's
you up?
talking about Joe Hunk's real
okay.
voice and everything.
I try to be a nice person. I often fail, but I try to be a nice
Stop it.
person.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not great.
That's why
Hey,
God
we get
gives
to-
us grace, Will.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Anyway, fraud or for real? Who is? Or we're gonna go around the room. We have a fraud that we've each picked and a for real team that we have each picked. The parameters of this are simple. Buffalo and Philadelphia are elite teams. Anyone not named Buffalo and Philadelphia
Right.
is fair game here. For frauds, though, to be fair, like a team like the Carolina Panthers, like
Texas.
they're not a
Yeah,
fraud because they're
exactly.
bad. Like no one actually thinks they're good.
Yeah.
So among the teams in the middle of the NFL, who is a fraud and who is for real in that group? Ramon, you start us off
I'll
with your
start us off.
fraud, please.
All right, for sure. With my fraud,
Yes.
Green Bay.
Oh,
Green Bay.
okay.
Have so much potential because they have the quarterback, one of the quarterbacks. I won't say the. I still think the quarterback is Patrick Mahomes, but that's neither here nor there. Aaron Rodgers, league MVP, has right now Green Bay has a 3-1 record. The teams they beat though, Bucks, Bears, and Patriots in overtime, as Aaron Rodgers said, a third-string backup quarterback took them into overtime. I don't look at their wins as something spectacular. I don't really know if the Bucks are what the Bucks have been in years past. We know I mean, Tom has some things going on right now. I don't think that team is what it is right now. The offense isn't sustainable throughout the years where I'm at. So he can't find ways to connect to his wide receivers whatsoever at this moment right now. Aaron Jones, we're not hearing much about him either in this offense. The offensive line is iffy at best when it comes down to them protecting him. Bakhtiari has been back, but I've been watching him, and I'm like, Bakhtiari, I don't know if you're still injured or you just hadn't played football in 2 years either. Still elite, but not the guy that I'm used to seeing right now. He's working through that. This offense, for as good as Aaron Rodgers is, there's 21st in points scored right now. And again, the loss of Devontae is showing big time. They are 3-1. They have a whole lot of drops as far as the wide receivers. They got underthrows, overthrows, drops. When it comes down to that team, defensively, they're good. They're doing their thing. But in this league, you got to have an offense. Aaron Rodgers' means of operating just isn't the same without Devontae being on his team. That was I'm talking about 1-2 punch when it comes down to efficiency. 3-1 Green Bay Packers, to me, are frauds right now.
You go well. I'm looking up something right now.
It's interesting. For me, for Green Bay, it comes down to, can those receivers develop a level of chemistry with Aaron Rodgers to be close to what that offense has been, or are these receivers just a downgrade on what they've had? I feel like it could go either way at this point. This is that point in the season, though, where the lack of preseason is certainly no longer an excuse. You've put enough on tape to know what your tendencies are as an offense and as a defense. Keith Bullock was saying this on Titans Tonight last night here in the Zone, that you should see a higher level of football across the league around now. This is when you take that first step and your rookies are implemented. Christian Watson remains a really interesting guy to me, the rookie out of North Dakota State at the wide receiver position, because I think he can step in and be a really good football player for them. Mm-hmm. But we'll see just the amount of improvement that can be had on that team, or just if it's not that team like it's been in the past. I tend to agree with you.
Okay.
That I think they're a little fraudulent. I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Rams as a fraud.
What?
I don't see the veteran one-year deal, veteran leadership they had a season ago. Sean McVay's Rams have a negative 24-point differential this season. That's 37 points worse than their previous low through the first 4 games of a season in the McVay era, when they were plus 13 in 2019. They've got one of their worst offensive lines they've had under Sean McVay. It's the first time that they've ever had a losing record under Sean McVay, when they lost the season opener to the Buffalo Bills. Their offensive line allowed 26 pressures against the 49ers on Monday night. I think Micah Parsons has a field day against this offensive line this upcoming week. I think Dallas beats LA this week, and I think more people are talking about this and getting on this train, because without Andrew Whitworth, without Odell Beckham, without Von Miller, replacing Robert Woods with Allen Robinson looks to be one of the worst gambles among contenders in the National Football League so far this year. Allen Robinson had 2 catches for 7 yards against San Francisco on a night where Cooper Kupp has 14 catches for 122 yards. For the season, Allen Robinson has 9 catches for 95 yards and a touchdown. And I think given the way this offensive line has played, I don't see that one getting better with time with Matthew Stafford. Without the protection that Stafford had a season ago, he has not been the same guy. He has not been as efficient in the passing game. And that offense, people think about the passing game when they think of Sean McVay. That offense has to start on the ground with Cam Akers. And has to be successful in that arena. And that's the nuance of that West Coast offense that I don't think people give enough credit to. The fact that you still have to run the football effectively in order to set up all the other things that you do in the passing game. So I think the Rams are a fraud at this point. I think coming off of the Super Bowl hangover, when you give away as many picks as they did to make that run last year, it makes your free agent signings that much more critical. And the fact that they spent as much money as they did on Allen Robinson and have completely swung and missed so far tells me that their margin for error is getting slimmer and slimmer without all those veterans they traded for last year.
I don't totally disagree with you, Will, because I think when you come off of a Super Bowl high, like they're doing, obviously, things aren't going to go exactly the way that you planned. And but the problem with them is they have paid so much money. They have brought so many guys over there talent-wise. Yeah, you lost Von Miller here and there. You got the situation, like you were saying, you got to get the running game going. I mean, Cam Akers, you got to utilize him. I don't think Matthew Stafford, I've ever been a firm believer in Matthew Stafford. I knew what he did. Hey, last year I was actually, I'll say it, I was a little surprised that he was able to do what he did and take them all the way to the Super Bowl. I know that people like Matthew Stafford, they look at the numbers. I haven't been always a firm believer in him.
Yeah.
And I just am a person that's like, I want to see it more than once. Right?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, let's see. So you going to do it again? Like, and obviously this is the time of the year and you're starting to look at them and say, I don't know if they're for real. For me, I'm going to go with who we were just talking about in Russ Wilson and the Denver Broncos. This is a 2-2 team that, mind you, coming into the season, everybody was hyped on. Oh, Russ Wilson going down to the Denver Broncos, new head coach. Like, everybody was kind of getting on that wagon early. And when you look at this team right now, Russ kind of got going last week. We saw that. But I just don't know if this is a team that's playing together right now. And you've got to have Russ lead the way. And with Russ coming off and having a kind of a shaky start, he's still getting familiar with everybody. And they're playing the Colts tonight, I believe.
Yes, they are.
So here's the thing with the Colts. And I know that they are missing Jonathan Taylor. Taylor's out, I think, with turf toe.
Yep,
Is that what he's
torso.
got, turf
Yep.
toe? I kind of think that the Colts are going to come in and they're going to be like, we have to win this game. I mean, I know that people think they may not, but if the Denver Broncos lose this game, I just think the Colts are a more desperate team right now.
Yeah.
I just think the Denver Broncos are not in the trajectory that you would have thought that they were going to start the year off in and all the hype that went into it. I just don't think they're there.
And this is Russ's pick as far as like he wanted to be there.
That's the thing. He wanted to go there.
Absolutely. It almost looked like a business decision more than anything when it come down to them.
Well,
like,
now it's looking like.
You got a franchise guy like Russell Wilson. Points, they are 30th in points scored in the NFL through 4 games.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Like seriously. And on the other side of it, you got to say, well, why are y'all 2-2? Because the defense is 5th.
Yep.
And
It's a complete
scoring
opposite.
Defense. Like, Russ, you're the guy. Is that too much pressure for a guy like him?
And that offense, I will at least say, I think, and Chris Collinsworth was talking a lot about this on one of the last primetime games that Denver plays in every week right now, that they, in the Nathaniel Hackett system, are going to have a lot of transition the way that Aaron Rodgers started really slowly in his first year in the Nathaniel Hackett system. But I tend to agree with you.
I'm not 100% sold on Nathaniel Hackett either.
I'm not either.
That's the thing.
Right. I'm with you. Jonathan Schaefer in the control room. Your fraud, please, in the NFL.
My fraud, New York Giants. Not even close.
Oh, well, yeah.
I mean, it's not even close.
Yeah. Is Daniel Jones hurt? I don't think he's playing.
A little banged up.
Yeah, he's banged up. I'm not sure if he's playing or not. And then, of course, you saw what happened with their one receiver, whose name's just escaping me right now. Barkley's been legit. He's come back, and he has been legit for sure. So if the Titans make the field goal, they win that game. So the Giants wins 1 point over the Titans, 3 points over the Panthers, 8 points over the Bears. And the Bears are absolutely dreadful.
Yeesh.
Their loss was to the Cowboys with Cooper Rush, 7-point loss there. Look, they're going to be competitive-ish, and the games are going to be close right now. Their point differential is 5 points. Their season's already better now than it was last year. But to see this team at 3-1 in that division where the Eagles are undefeated and the Cowboys are a good football team, the Giants are a fraud. Team that I think's for real, San Francisco.
Okay.
2-2.
Interesting.
And here's why.
All right.
They're going to go to the NFC Championship game again because this is who they are. This is what they do. Jimmy Garoppolo is still going to be their quarterback.
Interesting.
He's still going to miss that one big pass he needs to make every season. But with this defense that they have Debo, a healthy Debo, only 46 points allowed. Now, to be fair, the offenses, Bears, Broncos, Seahawks, Rams. The Rams, the only good offense out of that group. But I think you look at San Francisco, I think you look at that division that they're in, and San Francisco is going to be right there at the end like they have been when Jimmy G's been their quarterback.
The NFC West right now, guess what all the teams, just guess the records.
2-2.
Everyone's
All
2-2,
of them.
right?
All of them.
Every single team in the NFC West.
Wow.
It's like that year
because
where
I'm with Will when it comes to the Rams.
Yeah.
The turnovers are finally going to catch up to you.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think ultimately for San Francisco, they've got to strike while the iron's hot, while DeMeco Ryans is still a defensive coordinator and not a head coach in this league. Because DeMeco Ryans, I think, is a head coach this time next year for somebody. They talked about on the primetime broadcast on Monday that he wanted the right opportunity. He wanted to be 100% ready for coming into being a head coach and had opportunities this past offseason that he wasn't as interested in. I think next time around, DeMeco Ryans is absolutely a head coach in this league. He's the number one defensive mind of those coordinator types on the defensive side of the football that I think is next in line. Brandon Staley was the same way.
Yep.
Gerard Mayo,
He's on that
VFL,
list,
is right up there with him on that list.
100%, man.
Coming up next, we give you our teams who are for real in the National Football League among a big group that is good, but maybe not great. A couple teams that we think could be great. Coming up next, more of your phone calls at 615-737-1045. It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on 1045 The Zone.
People here know Genesis Diamonds as the value leader. They've proven it. You know why? Genesis is a true direct importer with connections that go back for 50 plus years. No middleman markups, no consignment fees, no third-party people to pay. But one thing people here really love about Genesis, this is where you can get her a better ring, a designer ring, a handcrafted ring that reflects how you see her. While other stores sell knockoff rings or poor quality overseas rings, at Genesis, you can get her a stunning designer ring made here in America by top designers. These rings are made to last. Bottom line, she will proudly show off her Genesis ring because it won't be a mass-produced ring. It will be something unique, something amazing. And don't worry about the price. Genesis will make sure you can get a designer ring that fits your budget with the diamond she will love. That's what Genesis specializes in, combining the best diamond value with the best quality ring to give you the total package with a free lifetime warranty as well. Genesis Diamonds, where luxury and value come together every day. Check them out in Green Hills and Cool Springs. And don't forget the all-new collection of amazing luxury pre-owned Rolex watches. Go see my friends at Genesis Diamonds.
It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors on 104.5 The Zone. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to jump in as we continue to talk about frauds and for real teams in the National Football League. Kayla, you lead us off on this one. Your team who is for real among those behind the elite in the NFL this year.
So I'm interested to see Ramon's action here.
Uh-oh.
Reaction, I should say, in this one. So when you are looking at the AFC North,
Put my phone
Here it
Pittsburgh
comes.
Steelers
All right.
at the bottom here at 1-3.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
But some bright news. They Kenny Pickett seems to be in the mix here
I'm
now,
so
and
glad
we'll see what happens
I have an
moving
ally in
forward.
these fights now.
But I look at the three teams here: Baltimore Ravens, Cincinnati Bengals, Cleveland Browns. I think the easy choice is to pick the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
But I'm going to pick the Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh, wow.
And the reason why I'm going to pick the Cincinnati Bengals, whatever. I hate.
Bengals.
So everybody, when you say
Bengals?
Bengals, it's not Bengals, but it's not Bengals.
I say Bengals.
I
It's
say
just
Bengals.
like Bengals.
Bengals.
Like, you gotta say
Cincinnati
it quick.
Bengals.
I
Yeah,
say
kind of in between.
I say bongles.
People pick you apart on TV for that
The
stuff
Bengals
too.
are walk like an Egyptian. That's the difference.
I'm going to have the Bengals fight song in my head for the rest of the day now. That's okay.
That's your problem.
I think that we can all agree that Joe Burrow is not a fraud. Correct?
I'm with
The
you on
offensive line problem.
I can roll
Okay.
with that.
But the problem, that was a problem last year too, and they seem to find a way to get in the groove. So if you're looking at the first two games of the season,
Say what happened at the
lost
first
to
game.
the Steelers.
There we go. That's
There
all
it
I
is.
was
23-20.
Don't matter,
Okay.
we lost.
Lost to the Cowboys, which I think we can all agree to. The Cowboys are a pretty decent team right now with Cooper Rush.
I'm with that.
QB1.
Okay, not Dak Prescott isn't even in the mix yet because he's still, healing. And beat the Jets 27-12. Okay, should have. Beat the Dolphins 27-15.
Mm-hmm.
And now got the Ravens coming up. That's gonna be a big game for them.
Yeah.
But if you look at the remaining schedule for the Cincinnati Bengals, not very impressive, first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like Joe Burrow is gonna get this offense going. He's got too many weapons around him. They're not playing in, the Ravens are, I think, their biggest competition because I'm not a believer in the Cleveland Browns. Who is? They always find a way to stink it up.
You're back in Ramon's good graces again.
Okay, we're good.
See how I'm doing this here?
Yeah.
So right now, I am still believing in the Cincinnati Bengals.
Before I go to mine, but the Bengals' biggest issue is this. This is new to them.
Yeah.
This winning, hey, we are the favorites.
Right. That's
and
a good.
We said this last year.
Why can't it take them a minute though? Maybe they got that behind them.
Okay, and they got to get that OL together too.
Well, that's been a problem.
Yeah, but people are trying to beat Cincinnati now because they are presumed to be or assumed to be good.
But now they're just 2-2, so it's like whatever.
I mean, but they lost to the
You
Steelers. That's all that
Oh,
matters.
God.
On me this time, Will, you ready?
I'm gonna go next
go ahead,
because
go ahead.
I'm also in the AFC North. I'm going Baltimore.
Y'all just trying to hurt me today.
I think Baltimore is 100% for real.
Boy.
In fact, I think Baltimore is
Oh boy.
talent-wise, Lamar Jackson in a contract year.
Yeah.
Baltimore has as high of a ceiling as Buffalo does to me, or the closest team to Buffalo as far as how high their ceiling is in the AFC, simply because of the injuries they've already had to deal with so far this season.
Mm-hmm.
Justice Hill has been hurt at the running back position. J.K. Dobbins comes back in their last game that lost to Buffalo over the weekend. 7 carries, 2 catches in 27 snaps. But in the first half, he was excellent. 63 yards, 17 touches. In the second half, didn't really do anything. It really touched the football twice in that second half, one for -3, one for -4. I think them managing his pitch count a little bit and easing him back in is one of the biggest reasons why they weren't able to sustain in the second half against Buffalo what they did in the first half. Now, Lamar Jackson's play, taking a dip in the second half to Buffalo, certainly played a factor in that as well. But I think that Baltimore at this point, they get back Ronnie Stanley at left tackle. They get back Gus Edwards and Justice Hill. They get back outside linebacker Tyus Bowser. They get Rashad Bateman back eventually. Devin Duvernay has stepped up, has been terrific. I loved him out of the draft when he came out with the athleticism that he has and the speed and how he fits with Lamar Jackson. I just think that team with Lamar in a prove-it contract year is dangerous. And I think when they get healthy and J.K. Dobbins gives them that other element in the running game, it lets them take that next step among the best 2, 3, 4 teams in the AFC. So I don't think it's that hot of a take. I think a lot of people expect Baltimore to be good. That being said, if they lose to Cincinnati and go 2-3,
Yeah.
and the nature of the losses that they've had, this thing spirals into a different direction really quickly.
Well, and
I think that the winner of that game is for real, is what I can definitively
I'm
say.
actually really excited for this game, but I'm also on the note of Lamar Jackson and just trying to figure out all this contract stuff. Having to deal with that during a season and having that in the back of your mind has got to be frustrating, especially since he's the one that's negotiating it. I mean, have you ever, before I get or you get your take or whatever, can you just tell me what that would be like? Could you ever imagine negotiating your own contract in the middle of the season?
No, because players are high strung. Having the ability to negotiate your contract and knowing you have that power, though, and feeling how good you are about yourself, and Lamar is good. But all contract negotiations is to tell you what you don't do.
Yeah.
How good you not are. Lamar is saying, hey, look, I need more than what Deshaun got. And they're probably going to tell you, well, you don't throw better than Deshaun. Like, all of those things come to the front. Like, they have to be blunt about what he's like. Well, Lamar, we like you, but we don't love you. Even though they love him to death. But they can't tell him that, because if I tell you how good you are, that means I got to pay you how good you are, too. So it would suck. It would burn at you being in that position.
And right now he's handling it well.
He did.
Because he's playing really well, but does that stay? Can that continue?
I will
to
give him
hold
credit.
up?
He's done really good at holding that conversation off and back.
Yeah.
And I know the local beat writers are probably still on his head. Lamar does the contract do this, contract do that. But to your point, Will, John Harbaugh's been the reason
rock,
why
though.
they're losing
That's
some
why.
games too, though. Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
You're saying he's the reason why they're losing some games?
Oh, that last game for sure. Or what was it, 2 games ago?
But he's a good when you look at it.
No, he's a
Harbaugh's
steady Eddie.
a solid coach.
Jonas on
100%.
YouTube says, after all those stats, Will, Derrick Henry is still their daddy. Well, I'm not disputing that either. Not disputing that either. Ramon, what's your for real team?
Y'all not gonna like this since y'all took shots at me, but this was already pre-planned. I got the Jags.
Okay.
I got the Jags, man, averaging 26.3 points per game. The Jacksonville Jaguars, 26.3 points a game, man. That ranks them 6th in the NFL. Defense is nice too. They are 2-2. They are 2-2, but they're only giving up 16.8 points a game. That puts them 4th. They got a top 10 offense and a top 10 defense. Okay, like they are that good. They have assembled a Super Bowl coaching staff offensively. The OC Press Taylor was on the Philly team. Tennessee legend Jim Bob Cooter's also on their staff. Their losses were to the Commanders in week 1 and to the Eagles, who we got as the number 1 team in the league, if we're not really if we're being honest about it. They smoked the Colts, which they were supposed to. Again, got Irsay on edge, and they smoked the Chargers, who a lot of people, including myself, had that team as one of the best teams in the NFL. Trevor Lawrence is completing 65.7% of his passes, 8 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He's taking care of the ball. They only giving up 6 sacks, man, against a Bosa-led defense, okay? Like, they went on a roll and smoked the Chargers like this. I know they got those 2 bad losses. And then on the other side of the ball, you got Josh Allen, who's leading them in sacks on the season. 9 quarterback hits. They got 7 interceptions as a defense, 9 sacks as a team, and just their roster in general. Like,
well, when you put it on paper, it looks good.
And they're so young, they're so dumb, they're just
Did you say dumb?
Yeah, in a good way. Like, they don't know how good they are.
Yeah.
Too young to be nervous.
I'm
by the moment.
putting the AFC South on notice.
Titans fans aren't going to be happy about that.
Well,
but
look at that roster. How good you feel about that? And how good do you feel about the other
Urban
rosters?
Meyer's not coaching. I think that's the
and that's the other part.
maker.
There you go. A touching tribute after Urban Meyer left from Ramon Foster to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Pun very much intended. When we come back, 4th quarter of the show, 4's up around the city of Nashville.
Already?
As
I
Coach
know.
Dave McGinnis.
That's what's crazy, right?
Goes by fast. It does. If you blinked, I apologize. You can check out the show on podcast once it's over. Coach Mack in hour 4. We continue with a little Thursday Night Football preview when we come back.
9:02, good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com sports desk. Titans linebacker Monty Rice has returned to practice from the PUP list. The team has 3 weeks to activate him. Ola Adeni, Traylon Burks, Zach Cunningham, Bud Dupree, and Joe Jones did not practice yesterday. Titans set to face Washington on Sunday at noon. Big Jeff, Jeffrey Simmons, will join the Buck Rising Show at 11:15 today. Don't miss that. Thursday Night Football, Indianapolis at Denver tonight. You can hear the game courtesy of Westwood One right here on The Zone. Jonathan Taylor will be out for the Colts. The Braves are the second seed in the Major League Baseball playoffs. They will face the winner of the Philadelphia St. Louis best-of-3 series. And the fan who ran onto the field during the Rams' loss at the San Francisco 49ers on Monday night filed a police report against Rams linebacker Bobby Wagner. One word, soft. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
The show goes on into hour number 4. Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville, with Coach Dave McGinnis on deck, the head coach of Titans Radio. We will get his thoughts on a great win for the Titans in Indianapolis and the matchup problems for the Washington Commanders, this upcoming Sunday. Alongside 11-year NFL veteran Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, and my name is Will Bowling. Jonathan Schaefer makes the show happen.
There you go.
Against my will at times, but he does still make the show happen.
In the world,
Against your will.
Craig.
Good job. I heard that.
In
That
the
was
world.
That's right. Against my will. 615-737-1045 is the number. We go to 6-1 in Franklin. Call again. Hello, 6-1.
6-1.
Good morning. What's up? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
got
we
you.
got you.
All right. First of all, I'd like to welcome Kayla to the team. It's good to have a woman on there give us a little bit of balance. I enjoy listening to you guys riding in. But I wanted to talk to Kayla real quick. I'm really impressed about her genre of music, that 90s thing. I love that.
Right?
So with that being said, I got a little game for you. Are you game for the game?
Are you going to put me on the spot?
Oh, yeah.
He didn't even deny it.
It wouldn't be me without doing it.
Okay.
But I'm going to put myself on the spot, too. So I'm going to give you a choice, so you can pick both.
Okay.
I'm going to give you the choice of a 90s rap or hip-hop or R&B. Whichever you choose, I'm going to give you the lyrics.
Okay.
Hopefully I can do it justice.
Oh, wow.
You have to name the song.
Oof. Might be difficult, but we'll do it.
All right, so which do you choose? You choose hip-hop R&B, hip-hop and rap, or R&B, or both?
Let's do both.
Okay, so which one you want to go with first?
Rap.
Okay, y'all ready?
Yeah.
All right. As I walk through the valley of the
Oh, Coolio.
realize there's nothing left. Because I've been laughing and blasting so long. Even my mama thinks
That my mind is gone. Gangster's Paradise, Coolio.
deserve it. Me be treated like a, that's unheard of.
One for one.
All right, let's get to the next song. Let's go.
right,
We
we
got to move on to the next one. Let's go.
This again, who is it?
Yeah, Coolio.
Yeah.
Gangster's Paradise.
Okay. All right, R.I.P. Okay, here's the next one.
RP.
Put on your red dress and slip on your high heels.
Oh, my goodness.
With some of that sweet perfume. It sure smells good on you.
All right.
I don't have that one.
Oh.
Ramon?
Ramon, I know you know this.
Ramon's got to know this one.
Come Come on,
Johnny
come on.
Gill.
There it is.
Got it, bro.
He got it?
There it is.
Johnny Gill.
Well done.
Johnny Gill. Johnny
Thank you-
Gill.
thank you,
Johnny
6'1",
Gill,
for the
Johnny Gill,
musical
Johnny
styling,
Gill.
sir.
There we go. Woo!
We appreciate it.
We
Yes,
each got
Johnny
one.
Gill,
Well, you
yes,
got Coolio too,
yes.
but you know.
All right, cool.
Well done.
So,
That's all right.
that's awesome, man.
People on here exploring their vocals today.
They are.
I started a whole.
You put your talent out there, you're going to get got.
Yeah.
You started a
Yes,
trend.
indeed.
Absolutely
I love
did.
it. I
I kind of
love
feel
it,
like he
man.
just asked her out in a way.
6'1"
Oh,
waiting
boy.
for that one.
Oh,
That
boy.
was beautiful right there. Johnny Gill.
Tonight, the
just
Colts
saying,
and Broncos will not be near that entertaining. I think I might be a sicko and take the over tonight. Colts and Broncos.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Ain't no way I
No,
would
I'm
take
dead
the
serious
over.
because
No,
it's going to be
absolutely
so
not.
low. The total's going to be so low.
Ain't no way. I would take the under on that one.
Well, that's what everybody's going to think. Though.
I'm not taking the over.
You're not taking the over.
The number's
either?
going to be so low. Anyway,
You think so? Oh, okay. Well, the line's got to be set then.
first primetime game of 2022 for Indianapolis. They were 4-1 in primetime a season ago, including road wins over the 49ers and the Arizona Cardinals. Denver, like you mentioned, 30th in scoring, 16.5 points per game through 4 games. They've been really bad in the red zone.
Yeah.
Has been the issue, obviously.
Yep.
Touchdowns on 30% of their trips inside the 20. Wilson has 16th in passer rating, 10th in yards per attempt. This is a kitchen sink game for the Indianapolis Colts.
Jeez.
Everything but the kitchen sink is going to be thrown at them, and they're going to do so without Jonathan Taylor and Shaq Leonard in this game, the artist formerly known as Darius Leonard. So it's going to have to be a Nyheim Hines game for Indianapolis.
It is.
Well, he did it against the Titans in some games.
He
so.
did.
He
Last
sure
year he
has.
had a game last year. A good game is what I mean. Of course he had a game last year. Do you think is Indy in a situation to where they could lose their head coach if they drop?
Yes.
They are.
Well, isn't that what?
Yeah.
Remember what Rhett said yesterday?
Yeah.
I think we're
yeah.
a week away.
We're a week away.
I think we're a week away. I think if they lose to Jacksonville, yes.
I mean, they've
Well,
already lost to Jacksonville.
Yeah,
You gotta-
I'm kind of looking at Jacksonville after that scouting report and like.
No, Jacksonville's legit. And not just that, they got the Titans in 2 weeks again.
Because I think Jim
3 weeks.
Irsay should recognize, I don't know if he's going to because he's one of the most erratic, just wild owners in the league, but he should recognize the fact that if the Colts win these next 3 games, they are first in the AFC South. 100%. Like, mathematically, they are first in the AFC South if they win the next 3 games. Because these next 3 games are Denver, Jacksonville, and Tennessee.
God.
So I think the sense of urgency turns up after Jacksonville because if they lose that game, you're looking around the AFC South thinking, all right, we need the interim coach bump big time for this week, and this is still salvageable in this division to make some noise in a division that's down in the AFC South. I don't think you press that panic button unless you lose again in the division to Jacksonville, and you're at that point, 0-2-1 in the AFC South, and you try to muster up some kind of energy for the Titans that next week in Nissan Stadium.
I will say this. I think if you get 2 games behind in this AFC South this year, I think you're out of it. I don't
Really?
think there's no hope.
Hey, you're
Absolutely
as
not.
high on Jacksonville, though, as anybody I know, too.
But then-
Which is not, I'm not saying that as a
No,
criticism.
I know.
This is true.
Ryan Clark seemed to be pretty high on him too.
And even with that, you're saying what you said. Well, for Jacksonville, but I think just in general across the
Yeah.
league, like you got the quarterback, you got the run game, you got the OL, you got the defense, and they're all young as crap. You know what I'm saying? Like that's where they are right now. With stability, that's the thing. Like I told you this before last week. Will, the one thing we hoped for in the AFC North was this: please don't let them get a good, competent coach. Thank you, Freddie Kitchens. You know what I'm saying? Like, thank you.
Talking about kitchen sink
who was the other coaches that
Yeah.
was Hugh Jackson?
Yep.
Thank you. Like all of the coaches that y'all have had over the years, because that roster was so stacked. Mind
Marvin
you,
Lewis?
Marvin Lewis?
Yeah.
No, he's Cincinnati.
No, he's
Well, I
Well,
know.
even him
I'm
too
saying
in
AFC North.
Cincinnati.
I mean,
Yeah.
Even to Cincinnati.
he was
There for a
9-7.
But
every year.
for a long time.
I'm not crowning Jacksonville. What I'm saying
course
is
not.
you don't notice as far as competition. This isn't one of those, well, we're going to go down there and get a dub. If I was on a team playing Jacksonville, I'm talking about tons of film just to make sure that you don't let one slip.
Right.
So if you drop 2 in the AFC South early, Titans and the Jags are just, I think, just way better than the other 2 teams. There's no competition at that point.
I think it's fair. I just think the sense of urgency will be turned up for Jacksonville and Tennessee, much more so for Denver on a short week without your running back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think the injury situation gives Frank Reich a little bit of security this week.
Yeah.
But if you get Jonathan Taylor back and they lose again to Jacksonville in Indianapolis, he's out.
I just feel
Done.
like Irsay's fuse is getting shorter and shorter, especially when you hyped that Titans game up so much. The roof's open, like all the
Blue wave and all that.
And then they go in there and take care of business for the fourth straight time, like Mike Heath says, very slow.
Yeah.
And let's be honest about this too. Jim Irsay has run out of scapegoats at the quarterback position.
You're right.
Because it's not a Carson Wentz problem this time.
No.
And he threw Carson Wentz under that bus quite a bit last year. Now he's got to throw the guy under the bus who brought Carson Wentz on that bus to Indianapolis and then shipped him away and got nothing for him.
You knew, too, that could be a possibility when you made those changes.
Yep. God.
You knew it could maybe not work out.
So it seemed like this is Irsay's team as far as his GM moves.
Kind of.
I mean, it's what holds them back from being elite. It's Jim Irsay being
Jerry Jones Part 2.
Yeah.
I would say him and Arthur Blank are around the same level of visibility and just general
Arthur does
meddling.
it in a better way. I feel Arthur's a little more hands-on. I don't feel like Arthur puts himself out there as much.
Worst thing he did was walk out.
Was walk down to the sideline.
Yeah.
That was the worst thing he did. He wanted to soak it in and became a meme.
That's okay. The one Atlanta team that people care about won a title last year, so we're happy. Coming up next, Coach Dave McGinnis, the head coach of Titans Radio, joins us talking about this win against Indianapolis. Rhett Bryan told us yesterday this needs to be a Big Jeff game against the Washington Commanders. We'll talk about that. Take a look at the good things that Ron Rivera, Jack Del Rio, and Washington does from their perspective. The best analysis in the business. Titans Radio's head coach, Coach Mack, coming up next on Ramon, Kayla, and Will on 104.5 The Zone.
Coach Mack's a man of the people.
Oh, yes, he sure is. Coach Dave McGinnis, the head coach of Titans Radio, brought to you by Farm Bureau Health Plans. Look to the folks at Farm Bureau Health Plans when you need someone who knows the health coverage game plan. They've been protecting Tennesseans for 75 years. It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors here on 104.5 The Zone. Will Bowling, Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson with you, joined by Coach Dave McGinnis. What's going on, Coach? How are you?
Well, the room's full now.
It is.
I like this.
man.
You got a full staff in here now. This is good.
You know what they say when you go to the bars and to the club, bring more people that look better that way, Coach Mack. And that's how you roll.
Feels better.
Kayla definitely makes y'all look better.
Thanks, Coach.
I mean, let's go with that. Yeah, let's go with that because you guys have a really good show because of the way you talk and your knowledge and your voice, but it's not because of what the camera's showing. So,
That's right.
I got a double dose right here.
We finally no longer just have faces for radio in this room, so this is a very good thing.
No, this is a nice
television.
This is a nice mix, right?
Yeah.
It is a good mix.
So
Mac.
congratulations, Kayla. You got to be
Thanks,
happy
Coach.
about this. These are two solid dudes to start off your radio
Yeah.
career with. And no, I'm sorry. Look, Shafe.
Three.
Look, Shafe.
I know.
Shafe, wait a minute, Shafe. I was going to say this.
He's in a league of his own over there.
Well, I was going to say this. These guys are in here first, and you know I always include you. Shafe, you're with three great dudes.
See?
There we go.
See, Shafe don't even have to say nothing, Mac. It's just, I think it's the
Makes a
glass. It's him staring at you, like looking through the glass that gets you. Like, yeah, that was on me. Right?
Shafe's like one of those Marvel characters. Got those X-ray eyes.
He really does.
That shoots those lasers out.
Yeah.
Vision.
Yeah, if he doesn't like something. So anyway, now we've included everybody. So
That's
we're
right.
good.
We have to include, by the way, your TCU Horned Frogs before we talk about the Titans.
Frog.
Big
Love
win
it.
over Oklahoma over the weekend.
Frog. That's all you need to say.
All right.
Love it.
I mean, just
Talk your stuff, Mac.
just fear the frog.
Come on. Oklahoma did.
Yeah, let's
It is now.
come on right down Interstate 35 and get a dose of frog. You know, so
I love it.
Have you ever eaten a frog?
Me? Yes.
Okay.
Really?
Is it
Yeah,
good?
frog
Tastes like
legs.
chicken?
Frog legs, absolutely.
Cannibalism.
No, it tastes like frogs. I mean,
I don't really have a frame of reference there on that one.
yeah, it tastes like frog. Yeah, but it's an exciting time down there in Fort Worth now. They are so fired up. And, you know, Sonny Dyke's coming over from SMU. I knew Sonny's dad very well. Spike is a legendary coach in Texas. You know, in West Texas, started out at Big Spring High School, where Tannehill's from. That's right. He started out at Big Spring High School, about maybe 40 miles from where I grew up. So anyway, but then Spike was a head coach at Texas Tech for years and years, and he was the quintessential West Texas coach. And his dad was outstanding, and Spike has followed right in his stead. Great people, you know, just a good people person. And that's where Spike is really strong, you know, coming from SMU, going right down the turnpike there to TCU. He is able to maintain his entire recruiting area. And so, you know, they're winning. When you're winning, everybody's happy. Right now in Fort Worth, happy frogs.
And you got a biggie coming up because Kansas, they're boasting too.
You know,
they're in the top 25. Got a good little team.
They are, Kayla, and you know I'd coached at K-State for 3 years, and of course we hated KU there, and they still do. But now KU, I mean, you talk about what Leopold has done. That's amazing,
Big time.
That is amazing, and I tell you what we're seeing there. And again, we'll talk Titans here in a minute. But what we're seeing there, I just got through doing coach to coach with Doug Matthews. We are seeing the effects of the transfer portal.
Yeah, we are.
Because all of a sudden, here's what you can do. You can get a quarterback that can play, and then you can get dudes that aren't playing somewhere else that you've got requisite tape on. It's not like getting a high school kid where you got to project. You're getting requisite tape. So you're seeing some of this, and if you can coach them up, this transfer portal, he's got a load of transfer portal guys up there, and everybody's going to have them. But this is interesting. The game day's in Lawrence, right?
Yeah, it is.
Sold out game.
It is. Yeah.
Game day is in Lawrence. I mean, this is going to be
Not for basketball.
It's not basketball. This is a kind of a cool thing. It'll be fun.
That's awesome.
And go Frog.
I'm saying go Frog this week for you.
Thank you.
Right. There you
I'm
go.
with
You're
it,
welcome.
Coach
If
Mack.
you can say go Cougs.
Thank you. Who the Cougs play?
Trojans.
Go Cougs.
Go, Coach.
There we go.
I ride
There
with
we
that
go.
one.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm with that.
Coach Mack, I love the energy in the Titans radio booth always, but especially at the end of this win over the Indianapolis Colts, where Mike Keith gives the pause to say, and for the fourth time in a row in Indianapolis, the Titans get it done again. How fun was that on Sunday?
You guys can hear me when I'm doing this games with Mike Keith. I mean, you heard the cut when Tierre Tart made his interception, and Mike Keith was absolutely just all over it. And I couldn't even comment. I just had to laugh because it was so great.
Wow!
There it is.
There it is. I mean, that's all we have to say.
It was just so great, and that's why you hear me laughing. Look, we're dialed into the game, but we're also wanting the Titans to do really well. Absolutely. And when they do, and there we're up high, so nobody can hear us in the stands. We still got the windows open, but when we're at places like Baltimore and where they're right there, they can reach up and grab your notes. That's when I like it, because then I can start stirring the fans up. and then Mike Keith, with his quintessential sack and his quintessential touchdown Titans, and it's a lot of fun when the Titans are rolling. And that was a big win.
Yeah.
And you got to move on in the National Football League, but that was big.
It was, Coach Mack. I loved it, man. I love to hear you two go at it. This week, though, man, Washington Commanders.
Ron Rivera's team. I know, Ron as well as I know anybody. Played for me for 7 years there at the Bears. Nice. Then, he was going to be my linebacker coach when I was head coach of the Bears for 6 hours. Didn't know it for 3. He was the guy. He was the guy that was going to be. He was the guy that was going to be my head coach. My linebacker coach. But anyway, throughout his coaching career, but he was this way as a player. Mm-hmm. What he was. We had that all-world linebacking crew with Singletary, Otis Wilson, Wilbur Marshall. Mm-hmm. But Ron Rivera backed up all of them, and he could play any one of them. He could play Sam Will. Brilliant guy, great locker room demeanor. Was always the guys people came to for some reason, because we had a cast of characters up there. He was kind of the reasonable voice, with all of that group. And so it doesn't surprise me for what he's done. He took on a really tough task there at Washington with a lot of stuff that's going on. So, as I say, I had all the respect and love in the world for Ron Rivera. Now I hope we beat the brakes off of him.
But to that point, though, that's how you got to approach this week.
Well, that's exactly how it is, and he understands that too. And that's just what it is in this league. You develop a lot of real close relationships, but game day is game day.
Yeah, no doubt about it. What to you is their biggest issues, though? Because I look at them when I did my scouting on them, Coach Mack, and I said they're a good enough team to where they shouldn't be sitting 1-3. Now, the league is the league. But I'm just looking at them like, okay, I know the OL got its issues, but that defense, I like the defense. It's a matter of it's popcorn. If it ain't this, it's that,
Well, they've got 3 number ones, and they got a big number one that's sitting on that defensive line. Chase Young's out, but those other 3 dudes, Sweat and Young and those dudes are players. Okay, and Allen. Those are number 1 picks for a reason. And Ron Rivera built that thing like that for a reason. Jack Del Rio's his defensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. I know what they want to do defensively, but you asked me what the problem was. They're having an issue keeping their offensive line healthy and together. And that's an issue, and it's an issue for a lot of teams. We've been through that, and so until that, and Scott Turner's their offensive coordinator. That's Norv Turner's son. Mm-hmm. Norv was the just the all-time coordinator there at Dallas, all those Super Bowl years. And so, Scott wants to do what Norv did, and Norv comes off that Ernie Zampese tree. I've been doing this for a minute. So when you start looking at them, what you see is a team that really wants to run the ball and run play action. They can't do it right now because they can't get the run game ginning. They've got about 3 backs, and if Robinson can play this week, they've got some backs that can do some damage to you if that offensive line gets to working. And so to me, I know I'm talking a lot, but this is radio. We're okay with that. The Titans defensive front needs to stay that same mindset they've had the last 2 weeks against the run, because it's a grown man's job all day to stop the run. And you know that. It's got to be a mindset. And so they got to go into this with the same thing too.
Speaking of the defensive line, we talked to Big Jeff yesterday, Jeffrey Simmons, and a guy that we always love talking to because he just kind of tells you it is what it is.
Right.
He's not going to sugarcoat anything. But we were talking to him about just quietly doing what he's doing right now. How important is it for Jeff to really have a big game in this one?
Well, look, they know who Jeffrey Simmons is. You saw last week with that first sack that Danico Autry got, it was clearly because they turned the line to Jeffrey Simmons. They turned the line to Jeffrey Simmons with the center and the guard, and then they took the back in the backfield and chipped on the right end because Dupree was still in there. Mm-hmm. And so they left Danico Autry by himself on Quentin Nelson, who's making $20 million a year, and he just worked him. All right. And so his whole game, those two guys complement each other. And Jeffrey Simmons is much like Aaron Donald. If you really watch the Rams play, I watch all of these games. And people, when they've got a dude inside in that center guard triangle, Ramon can tell you that they're going to take care of that first and take their chances. It's much like the Titans did, taking the top receiver and the tight end out against the Raiders and say, we'll take our chances with somebody else.
Yep.
Well, Jeffrey Simmons is that dude now. He's got that on him. And so he's doing some really, really hard work right now. But what he's doing is being able to free up, especially his buddy on the inside.
When you look at the Washington Redskins, they've scored a lot of points in
Commanders.
Thank you. I completely
Is
had
that her first
moment.
demerit?
Yeah, I think it is.
That's demerit. Okay,
That is
now
demerit.
she's official
No,
now.
the only reason I said that is because they made such a big deal out of going from that name to football team to now
The
Commanders.
Well, that's the thing. It happens so fast that sometimes
Yeah,
your brain
no doubt about
lapses.
it.
What I'm doing is practicing so that I don't
I'm
do
glad,
it.
and I'm glad that you
so
said
that
that.
I don't do it on game day.
You
So-
deflected Mac.
When you look at the Commanders' offense, though, they've been putting up points in the second half, kind
Yes.
of opposite a little bit of the Titans. So for this defense, I think just to be able to limit those big plays is going to be a big part too.
Well, it is, but let's go a deeper dive into this. The reason they're scoring points in the second half because the score separated so much from the first half that their defense, if you're playing different.
Yeah.
I called defenses in this league for a long time. If I've got a big score separation, I'm going to play defense different. All right, and especially if it's separated a lot, then you don't care about yardage and you don't care about points if it takes a long time to get them. Now, your point about explosive plays.
Yeah.
Scary Terry out there is, that they've got two receivers from Ohio State.
Yes, they do.
And those dudes can take the top off, all right? Jahan Dotson was really playing nice for a rookie. He's hurt, just like Traylon's out for us. But those other two, and it goes back to what I was saying earlier, Kayla, I think, I'm not always right, but I'm thinking that the play-action game is something, that's why they want to get their run game going. Because if they don't have the play-action and you don't get the draw, not only from the linebackers, but you don't get the draw from the safeties, then all of a sudden teams can sit back there in a too high, and it's hard to get. It's hard, much like people are playing a lot of defense around the league now against these offenses.
Yep.
Watch. When Mahomes is playing, what are people doing? Too high, too high, too high. So now you're starting to have to work your stuff underneath. So you talked about the explosive plays. Where this is going to come in, I really believe they want to get the ball out of Wentz's hands. And so what's going to have to happen in the back end, you've got to spot tackle.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to make those throws incompletions. But if you spot tackle it and the run after catch does not kill you, then you've got a chance.
Coach Mack, how impressed were you with Dylan Cole on Sunday and the way he stepped in for Zach Cunningham, leading the team with 8 tackles?
How about Schobert, too?
Him too.
Schobert,
You got two dudes,
system.
but let me tell you what those two dudes can do. And again, I've coached linebackers for a minute in this league. Their key and diagnose is spot on. So they may not run the 4-4. But their K and D, their key and diagnose, and playing behind the line. If you can key and diagnose, especially splits, line splits, back depth, back tails, and you can key that center guard triangle and get ahead of blocks. That's what they were doing. They were getting ahead of the blocks. What you want to do as a linebacker in this league, you don't want to take on guys like Ramon Foster all day because you're gonna lose that. Eventually you're going to lose that. Physically, you're going to lose that. All right. If all the time he's got you centered up on the block, if he's got you centered up, then you've got a problem. So your only chance is you can't avoid him because you don't want to play matador and whole lay things because then you open up your gaps. But if you can get ahead of the block and get downhill faster, then that. And Ramon can tell you, once you're chasing backers that are ahead of the block, then that takes his game away. But that's what these guys were able to do on a consistent basis. That was massive by both of them. Massive.
Yeah, and the ability to slow down Jonathan Taylor the way they did, certainly want to carry that momentum into Sunday. You mentioned just the tackling and having to make plays in space. We mentioned the stat the other day that Carson Wentz's time to throw has decreased every single start. They've used 3 centers on the offensive line. Is that the key for Washington, is just getting the ball out of his hands as quickly as possible?
Yeah, you'd like to, but you'd like to pressure him. Ramon said it early on when he was talking about, what was going on with their team to start with, and it's inconsistencies on the offensive line. And with that inconsistency on the offensive line, you want to pressure a quarterback. Never anything bad happens for a defense if you're pressuring the quarterback off the spot. It's not just it's off the spot, and when he's off the spot, then the timing's off. And to recalibrate timing as an offense, when you're having trouble protecting, you get it out of your hands quick. And then if you're getting it out of your hands quick, then the counterpunch on defense is spot tackling.
Yep, 100%, Coach Matt. And just in general, though, like I said, just speaking about Dylan Cole, just real quick, Matt. I love these type of situations because being an undrafted guy, you get a guy that's striving for it. And we just straight up asked him, I was like, what? You want to go back to the bench? You know what I'm saying? Because when you get that first sniff of starting, Coach Mack, it's like blood in the water for a shark. It makes you want more, man. I was glad to hear him kind of say, like, I'm here to play my role, but I know what I can do in this league now, man. I love them type stories.
Well, sure. I mean, it's big. I mean, how about Tierre Tart's story?
Well, Tierre.
Start looking at the journey he took to get to where he is, which, 98% of players that play collegiately can't get to this spot. But look what he went through. I mean, he went to junior college in Mississippi. I mean, he's got travel miles where he went to be able to get here and then get a chance. And so I love those stories. I always had a soft spot in my heart for those players when I had them, knowing that what they had to go through to get there. But they're no different than anybody else. Once they get there, they got to perform. And that's the key.
Another young kid, too, on this Titans team, man. I don't think we do talk a lot about him, but Rashad Weaver. He's grown up. Mac.
Yeah.
They speak about, okay, year one impact, but it's the year two step that you look at. What a year two he's having so far.
Well, and here's his game. This was his game at Pitt. Yep. This is his game now, and this is the game that's going to keep him in the league as long as he does this. Consistent effort. Effort. He never, ever, ever takes a snap off. I mean, it's consistent effort because that's what he's not a bendy edge guy, but he's a speed to power dude that is relentless. And he's relentless every time, all the time that he's in there. That's what got him here. That's what got him here from out of the draft. That's what's gotten him on the field. He had a chance because of injury to get up in there and show what he could do. Yeah. I mean, I really think he was coming on last year before he broke his leg. But his relentless effort, as long as he keeps that up, he's got a chance to do something in this league. Because at the end of the day, you can have all the talent in the world and you can have all the measurables, but if your effort does not match what you're going against, you got a problem.
Yeah.
And not just that, but what a week for him to roll, because if Bud's not up, opportunity knocks, doesn't it?
Well, Ramon, I mean, you got your – look, I always used to tell, the 15 years I was Jeff Fisher's assistant head coach, he'd turn the rookies over to me, for 2 or 3 Coach Mack sessions. And the one thing I would tell them is this. You worked hard to get in the door.
Talk about it, Matt.
Now, it's up to you to stay in the building. Now, somebody brought you into this building. Your effort and whatever, but you were chosen, that you made it into the door. Now, what you do with that is up to you. And so that's the key thing. And look, the NFL playing life is hard.
Yeah.
It's hard mentally, it's hard physically. I mean, it's a game of attrition out there, and it's a mental. I've seen more guys bust out of this league with a lot of ability, but they couldn't stand the mental strain.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's what it is. And so as long as you stay there, you got a chance.
Coach Dave McGinnis, brought to you by Farm Bureau Health Plans. Better rates, better coverage, and better service. That's why Tennesseans have been relying on Farm Bureau Health Plans for their health coverage for 75 years. Coach Mack, thank you.
Thanks,
Is that it?
That's it.
Thanks, Mac Dog. We can't
Just
have
like
it
that.
anymore.
No, well, okay.
I could pick that guy's brain
That's
forever.
what I'm saying.
Here I am just taking mental notes the whole time.
Class in session with Mac in here.
Yep.
And let me just add my 2 bits for Randy Wilmore and Farm Bureau Health Plans.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Some of the most solid people ever. We talk about the people giving effort. These guys are absolutely outstanding.
Good people.
I know a lot of football because I've done it all my life. I know nothing about insurance, but when I went with them, it's all taken care of.
It's good stuff.
No.
See you guys.
Love
See
it.
you, Matt.
Coach
Thanks,
Mack,
Matt.
dropping some knowledge with us. One more segment before we get out of here. It's episode 2 of Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All 4 Seasons. Wrapping it up when we come back.
That's like you stepped on a tin can on a cement floor.
Please don't text if your catcher doesn't use this as his walk-up song. Thanks. National League East winning catcher William Contreras to you.
Listen.
Sorry, but they have that over.
It's Ramon, Kayla, and Will, powered by All Four Seasons for one more segment.
Listen at this guy, Mac.
It's called giving you Friday energy on a Thursday is what that is right there.
Exactly what that is.
Will Bowling, Kayla Anderson, and Ramon Foster with the best producer of the world, Jonathan Schaefer, spinning the hits today. So tonight, Thursday Night Football, other headlines around the NFL. Are we ready for a second look at Bailey Zappi? Because it looks like we might get just that.
Yeah, I didn't realize my guy Brian Hoyer was stinking it up like that.
Well, he didn't practice dealing with the after effects of a concussion that he suffered early in the Patriots' loss to the Packers last week. Mac Jones made his way out to practice. Looked a little bit better in practice, according to reports yesterday, but still is dealing with what is called left ankle instability, high ankle sprain against the Ravens in that loss for them. So still trying to work his way back from that. And Bailey Zappi might continue to be the guy.
Hey,
Hilltoppers.
Might get better with play right
Western
there.
Kentucky.
A Tyson Helton quarterback.
You can also get in-state tuition with Tennesseans going to Western Kentucky.
Do you really?
And my college roommate freshman year at UT was from Bristol, Virginia, and was the same way. You could get in-state to Tennessee being in a surrounding county.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
I believe is what it was.
Not too bad of a thing there.
Yeah, that's pretty solid,
deal.
ain't it?
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Dak Prescott expected to work on the side as he continues his recovery. Won't be involved in practice in a big way, according to Ian Rappaport of NFL Network. But Mike McCarthy saying yesterday the next step is to get enough strength in his hand to throw the football as he works his way back from injury. Dallas and Los Angeles this weekend, Rams and Cowboys. I'm on the record. I think the Cowboys win that game. I will be betting the under in that one because I don't think that the Rams are going to be able to protect Matthew Stafford from Micah Parsons. But that's an interesting game coming up this weekend. We'll have our Friday Five tomorrow where we'll give the 5 most interesting college football and NFL games. I imagine that'll be a part of Ramon Foster's list.
It will be.
In the National Football League.
Kayla, you ain't on the Friday Five? Oh, no, Kayla.
Well,
We need to figure out how we
It's my first
How we do
Friday.
it?
Remember
First
that.
rodeo. Yeah. Oh, no doubt about it. Fridays will be fun.
Absolutely. But tonight for Indianapolis, Jonathan Taylor, Shaq Leonard, and Julian Blackman are all out.
Colts.
That's correct. And we mentioned the first primetime game of the season for Indy. 2 weeks in a row, Mike Keith mentioned this on Titans Tonight last night, that 2 weeks in a row where the Titans will play a team who will then turn right around and go to Thursday Night Football. The Washington Commanders play the Chicago Bears next Thursday, which, boy, oof.
Talk about a bottom feeder.
primetime matchup?
For real, right? Said talk about a bottom feeder.
It's like the algae just grabbing that algae at the bottom
algae
of the
eater
ocean.
fish. Yeah, that's what they are. Right
It's
now.
not ideal.
Trying
I
to
used
survive.
to love watching them.
There,
yeah.
you're giving us a mixture of the two worst kinds of primetime games.
Yeah.
Chicago Bears primetime games because they're slow and boring and the
Right.
Bears aren't good.
What is Velas doing?
And then
Not
NFC
much?
East games. He just played. He was up for the first time this
Yep.
past weekend coming back from injury.
I saw that.
Yeah, banged up in preseason, I believe is what it was. And getting there. One of the oldest rookies in the NFL.
Who was the quarterback from Florida State that was like that? That was an
You're
old
putting me
quarterback. He was
on
like
the spot. I
28
have
years
no idea.
old.
Oh, Brandon Weeden was that way at Oklahoma State.
Oh, I remember
Brandon
Brandon
Weeden came out and he
yeah.
was 26 because I remember no one wanted to draft him
forgot
because you
about
were
Brandon
getting
Weeden, yeah.
a 26-year-old rookie quarterback. Where did he end up? He ended up going to what? Houston?
I think so.
Brandon
yeah.
Weeden?
Yeah,
Yep.
he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure did.
Yep.
See?
Come on. Fun show. Flew by.
Nice,
Let's
guys.
do it for 4 more hours tomorrow.
No doubt.
Y'all down for that?
Heck yeah, it's Friday.
Friday energy coming up tomorrow.
Friday.
It's a Friday, and we plan on acting like it. Special thanks to Bob Kesling, to Coach Dave McGinnis for stopping by today. Much more Vols and LSU preview. Titans and Commanders talk will continue. But before we can talk about Friday and before Buck Rising comes in this studio, or he's got Jeffrey Simmons on the show later,
Big Jeff.
he would like for you to know, Ramon Foster gives a word of wisdom, a little bit of sage advice to the people of Middle Tennessee and the surrounding area who are listening to the sound of our voice today.
Remember your Twitter fingers and your mic